Con los clanes y con los cortes, bizcocho se repara, que el totito se te pare, paraíso de los gatos.
It's gonna be you.
Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Well, normally this is where we do a recap of the last few days' matches, but I thought we'd shake things up today and do it a little bit differently with some wordplay. Dun, dun, dun.
This scares me.
You shouldn't be scared, don't worry. This is how it's going to work. We're going to show a round to Mimi and to Mike, and both of you will have to cast it with some specific words that we've given you to work into. It's completely random word generate.
Are they Spanish?
What kind of words are they? They're English words.
Yes, and I think Alex was the one that did it, so you can trust her. I feel like you can
Oh,
trust
so they're
her.
English. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a relief.
Mimi, you are going first, and you are given the task of casting a round of PRX versus KC.
Oh, well.
Negotiate extraterrestrial and dough.
Have fun with this one.
Extraterrestrial?
That's free.
Okay. All right, let's start the clip. Roll it. All right, where are we? Round 17 here. Casey setting up for an A hit. They're going to use this Yoru to dive in to start this one and try and negotiate their way forward off of this ultimate from Martin. Spotted out towards the backside. Narrate on the dive, but just clearing the first section of this site. Now into the backlines. Forsaken just needing the kills like dough or something.
Come on.
Now the flank becomes the biggest factor in this round. PRX will work their way back on through, and the dog doesn't clear the close corner. Tamazi has already found one and has more for his troubles ahead of him. Support from a flash across the way. It's from downtown, an extraterrestrial even making his mark on the round. That was good enough for government work.
No.
And they're going to finish this off. Munyet gets two, and it's a quick rotation back over towards this B site. Plant should come down in time, but there's already Mind Freak ahead. He's on the angle, will find a shot and knocks him out of the park. Last man standing in a 1v3. Doesn't have much a chance at this one. Nade forward, flash on his line. Narrate on the swing, already gets a double and got it down to a 1v1. Divide. Biding his time on a drop. This is a very long clip, and I'm still casting. Divide did all the words, but Divide wins it.
I thought you were gonna like work extra. I can't say that word.
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah, with like Mind Free. I thought you were gonna maybe do something.
I'm not that smart, so
something
maybe
like
you should have done it.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce
Well,
the word.
I demand a recount because you started with negotiate, not
demand a
negotiation.
recount.
You didn't even read the word correctly.
Negotiate.
Oh.
Negotiate. It's a different conjugation.
The word.
You-
Minus 30, I just got it in. Minus 30.
Kevin said it was Kevin. It wasn't on us. But Hybox, since you think you can do better, how about we take a look at your round?
yeah.
This is going to
Do you
be.
think you can
Once I see
it's
my
going to be
words,
Loud
maybe.
versus EDG here.
Oh, this is so free.
This
so
is
free. Look at
actually
these
really
words.
free.
This is teed up. But Loud EG.
EDG.
I'm worried about the round. Is it going to be another long one or?
Here we go.
Oh, no, we're on this map, so she's right. So 6-2 to score. Round 9. See, looking now for a little bit of pressure towards A main. Slow creep. Tui's here with the operator. Trying to distribute some of that pressure ahead of this site coming through. Not an awful lot happening on this.
How's
Thank
he
you very
distributing
much
the
for
pressure?
choosing this clip in particular, because we're frozen right now outside. Tui's pick onto nobody, able to TP away now. EDG looking to counteract this. Trying to shift their transmission into the top gear
Boo.
ahead of this site here. A little bit cheesy on that, but now actually Smoggy acting as a taxi for the spike.
I like it.
Yeah. Coming through here. A very slow round, actually. Why did we pick this one? 55 seconds left on the clock now. TP coming across. Howdong into site now. Spike still not taxied into a site, but finally making its way in.
Double whammy, Mike.
Actually, fault line coming through. That's going to distribute some of the players on site elsewhere, but no pressure coming through. Spike finally coming through. Clip is lasting quite a while as well. 26 HP left on Kang Kang. Shut out here by QCK. 77 HP. I've already done the words, so I'm just going to keep talking over this clip. Unless you want me to redo one, you can tell me now.
You want to do her words? Extraterrestrial? Negotiation?
Okay, well, actually, yeah, Loud currently in negotiation for the retake coming through. Utility invested here. QCK going to drop Smoggy. Can't remember the other words here, but I think one was extraterrestrial. Howdon not looking so much so. Shut down here. What was your last word?
Stunning introduction of extraterrestrial by saying,
And load, get the dough. Load, get the dough. Loud, get the dough.
Load, get the dough. Now, I've confirmed.
A Freudian slip at the end. Do I get deducted for
Well,
that?
I actually have confirmed that neither of us won. And
We're
No,
both losers.
you don't have
Okay,
the power
okay.
to do that because I confer with Tactibani, who was the judge
Okay.
of wordplay, and he told me that given that you're minus 30 points, I think Mike won it, but just the fracture of minus 25.
I like both being losers
So
better.
there's a
People
minus
lost.
5 point in between you, but
But
well
here's
done.
the thing, at the end of the day, really the viewers lost.
Yes, because they had to endure that. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, well,
No, we
let's
lost.
let's move on to something else. Clouds, because following Monday's matches, we did a draw for the double elimination playoffs bracket coming into this, and it is a clean slate for our top 4 teams. This is the thing. We've seen these matchups regionally before, but we haven't seen them internationally just yet. And there is also a lot of history with all 4 of those teams. But let's start with the easy one. Loud, Mimi, they won World Championships, and they're back here again with a different iteration of this roster, but still making top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something new for this Loud roster. It seems like they're always running back, no matter who the players on the team are. Sidak will lead a squad into the top 4 to get to this point. And I mean, this game versus EDG for them was proof of that. Loud, I think, have continued to get better and better every game we've watched of them this tournament. And I mean, this match against EDG was just dominant.
Yeah, time and time again, we talk about Loud maybe having a slower start. Masters events particularly, and kind of bubbling up towards playoffs and stuff, but I don't think we've ever seen such a performance versus a team like EDG to really bounce back.
And on the other side as well, looking at PRX, because they've still not won a title. It's eluded them every single time. Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of nonsense that they haven't made it through yet. Obviously, last year coming the closest, but are you really sold that this is the championship winning team? That's the question I come into the playoffs, particularly with about PRX.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to say, right? Because most of their wins in the group stage were relying on heroics, on crazy step-ups towards the end. We haven't seen them come out and like really dominate another top team yet. But it's PRX. It's so hard to ever count this team out.
Yeah, and lastly for Gen G and Sentinels, they haven't. Well, I mean, Sentinels. It's been a very, very long time since we've seen them won a title. But how did Gen G get here? They made top 4.
I mean, they looked great regionally, and then they came out here. They upset Loud when they were looking weaker, and then they also beat an EDG in a 2-1 series there. For me, I haven't seen quite a ton of Gen G yet. It's really hard to place in my mind where they're going to be in these playoffs.
Absolutely great. I remember saying coming out of after the win over Loud, thinking that actually Gen G's performance in the follow-up series kind of gave context to Loud losing that.
Yes.
It's anyone's game, I feel like, at this point. And that brings us to today's MasterCard fan poll. We got 2 regional rematches on deck, and we want to know which match you think will go the distance. We're going to go 3 maps, maybe both matches. We get 3 mappers as well. So scan the QR code on your screen and cast your vote, and we will have the results a little bit later on. Also, make sure to use the hashtags MasterMadrid and VCT so we can feature you guys on the broadcast as well. Keep those tweets coming. Keep those tweets coming. But there's 2 people I feel like are never wrong. They have never been wrong ever
Me and Mike,
in the history.
Yeah, that's got to be us, right?
And there's 2 people that have been very wrong.
Yep.
Let's send it over to them. It's Brand Sideshow. See if they can accurately predict the future. It's time for bracketology.
Hello and welcome to Bracketology. I definitely didn't almost trip over the board that we've got over there. Stage 2 Playoffs Edition. You may have just taken a sneak peek at my notebook. Don't worry about that. John Riot's given me some hidden instructions.
The script?
Potentially the script.
What you got in there?
What have we got in it? Well, number 1 is a regional matchup, rematch of the grand finals, because the fans love regional rematches of the grand finals.
Well, get them in early.
So
get them in early.
Yeah, we got them in early. The second one was no EMEA in top 4.
Okay, that's good.
Riot hates EMEA.
Okay, that's good.
So we got that one out early.
All right.
So we got those 2. What next? PRX lose in the grand finals.
Ah, that's tragic for them,
so
unfortunately.
PRX, they make it to the grand finals. We don't know how yet, but they need to be in the grand finals.
I think they'll probably make it through the lower bracket because Gen G are favoured, in my opinion, in this match.
Okay, but there's one team that needs to make a lower bracket run because John Riot really loves it when Sentinels play the most matches possible.
So Sen make it all the way through the lowers?
Yeah, Sentinels are going to lose their opening matchup. They're going to go all the way through the lowers into the grand finals.
But if PRX lose the grand finals, that means Sen already win.
Yes, so Sen are going to win the grand finals. Unfortunately for viewership, it needs to happen, which means that Loud ends up winning here, but then they end up... So how does
PRX must go through the top?
Yeah, but this is good. This is good because teams that do well in scrims, they need to go out early. So Gen G have been undefeated in scrims. They've got to go out in 2.
Oh,
so this is perfect. Perfect according to the script. We're right on schedule right now, honestly.
So then that sets up another Loud v Sentinels at the bottom.
Loud v Sen matchup.
Where
and then
Loud won.
Loud won, Loud lose. It's a repeat of the Americas storyline. Yeah, so Sentinels win.
Oh, that is brutal.
Yeah,
but it fits every narrative.
It fits every narrative that we could possibly want. I see nothing wrong with this whatsoever.
Got it.
Absolutely nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I said they're never right, but they whipped out the John Riot script, Mimi. Will they be right this time?
I mean, if you just look at history, you know they're going to be right. Every storyline they said there has come true in the past. It has to come true again. PRX has to be second place, you know. Sentinels have to win for the... It just makes sense to me.
Sense.
Well,
That's not what I got from that, but we'll move on. We'll wait and see, right?
And speaking of storylines, let's just dive into our first matchup of the day. It is the Pacific Grand Finals kickoff rematch between Gen.G and PRX. And surprisingly, Mike, when we saw this last time, it was not PRX that came out on top.
No, I think that was probably I don't want to say the big upset ahead of this, but I guess the fashion in which they closed out that series was very indicative. Obviously, the individual perform on this Gen.G roster was what carried them through to a pretty comfortable scoreline in the regional finals.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a PRX at the time who I think was really still trying to figure themselves out. They were doing a lot of, and they kind of still are, right? They were doing this thing that we saw at the beginning of last season too, where they're pulling out all these new different comps. They're kind of trying to discover who they are again. And Gen.G, on the other hand, they came out swinging this season. They had really clear identity the entire time they were playing in Pacific. They are a structured team that has very good mid-rounding, that has very good fundamentals, and has players that can absolutely pop off. And I feel like all of those storylines have continued through to their run here in Madrid thus far. It's the same style of play. It's the same performances from players like Texture, from Charon. But the other thing is that PRX have really improved in the time since that grand finals.
Well, this is the thing about PRX, of course. They thought maybe after DRX getting knocked out, they will be the one to take the title, take the crown, but it did not happen. However, we did hear from Coach Alex after the press conference when he found out that they will be facing Gen.G again, and this is what he had to say. I hope this time around we manage to shut Texture down, beat up Charon, try our best. They really manhandled us last finals, and we hope we get it right this time. I mean, Mike, for the sake of their tournament run, we do hope they get it right this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think individually, I mean, identifying the threats here, Texture and Charon both individually, I think, are having a top 5 performance so far at this event. Quietly, Charon, Texture more so the headliner, but the concern being really for PRX is around who is that front line, right? With all this kind of composition shifting, and I don't want to say losing themselves a little bit, but trying to figure out what the next step at W Gaming is, which Alex has said time and time again. It's a hot discussion right now of whether or not PRX are actually on the right track to find sustainable improvement.
I mean, it's easier said than done, but for more on PRX, let's send it over to Mika Fabs, who caught up with Mindfreak.
Hey Mindfreak, what's going on? Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right.
All right, so Gen.G, of course, gave a very strong performance against PRX in the Pacific Finals, which wasn't too long ago. What do you think is different with PRX this time around, and why shouldn't Gen.G assume that they're fighting the same team?
I think actually we feel the same, like nothing is different because like right now, like we said before, our team performance is not our peak performance yet, so maybe right now we're just playing in not in their home turf, so yeah.
All right, well, let's see what happens. Good luck.
Thank you.
I mean, if they're the same, they lost, right? So Mimi, this doesn't seem like a good sign.
Yeah, it's so weird. PRX this tournament has had the lowest confidence we've ever seen from them. Alex comes on the desk, he's like, yeah, the boys have no confidence. We're a 6 out of 10. We just don't have it. But seemingly, they lack all that confidence, and every series they've played at Madrid thus far, they somehow find it in themselves the second half of map 3, and then probably lose it again.
Yeah, it's so strange to, and we were talking about that, you know, not really knowing where to place Gen.G, but PRX has always had this kind of image of like, what PRX do we get, right? I mean, we've seen examples here. The second half of Split versus Heretics is like one of the peaks of PRX, to be honest, on the international stage, in my eyes. The way they performed in that second half is up there with some of their best performances, but I mean, they're saying they lack confidence. They're at a 6 out of 10 right now. They're making weird composition changes that don't really make a lot of sense from the outside looking in. And then we get to interviews and they're like, yeah, we kind of don't know what we're doing at times, but it worked.
Yeah, but that then brings us to the question you were asking earlier, Mike, of like, what is the next step for this team? Because that's what Alex was
logical
saying, right?
next step, but then you throw logic out the window because it's PRX.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. But when you try and apply logic to this team, it doesn't make sense. For instance, some of the comps they're playing, they're running a comp on Lotus with no Sentinel, playing double Duelist, and
still with the Sky
without
as
a
well.
Viper, with the old Sky. Like, so many of the decisions they're making seem so off. And in the past, when we've seen PRX make these decisions, we get things like their their like Rain of Skycoms where they're cooking, they're coming up with something creative. But nowadays, it really does feel like some of these ideas are slipping through the cracks. But that stands in contrast to moments where this team is looking incredible. Like you brought up, that second half of Split. I think when they're playing on Bind, that comp, very well thought through, very well cooked. PRX really seems like a team in transition right now that it's, again, so hard to figure out where to place them because of that.
I'm just gonna, I'm an OG paper girl. I'm gonna come in and maybe channel a bit of paper thin as well for this. Is that every single time people do have those questions, is this the end of W Gaming? When do they stop getting away with this? They get away with it. So, we've seen it. We've been here before. We've been here before.
I still think they're the most entertaining team to watch.
I think that's kind of undisputable.
Yeah, but when you hear them coming out and talking the way they're talking, that's when you make them doubt a little bit.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Forsaken as well, because Forsaken has been on it, and we've seen the rays come out of him, Mimi, for the first time here.
Yeah, I think in terms of things that have improved since that Pacific Final, Forsaken is a big piece of that. He wasn't doing too great when they played regionally, and at Masters Madrid, this guy has showed up and looked incredible. He's picking up the rays. He's playing seemingly every role possible. The guy playing the most agents in this tournament right now, and he looks electric on all of them, while also being a big voice in this team, Mike.
Yeah, I think as well, if this is an indicator for kind of maybe rethinking some of the compositions, obviously Monyet having a different place within this team, putting Forsaken back in, I don't want to say the driving seat now that Jing's gone, but maybe building some compositions that are more focused around Forsaken and his current performance and form could be the key for Paper.
And we've seen that, right? They're switching him onto rays on maps. They're giving him those moments where he can be confident. And these are the things we have to walk away from. That is why PaperX is a contender, because they have players stepping up. Because even if something's having a bad tournament, you still have Forsaken, you still have Monyet, you still have guys who will step up and win these games, even against the best.
Yeah, and the thing is, you say put him on. He's putting himself on those things. Alex even said it's Forsaken that comes up with this kind of stuff. And Genji's Munchkin actually had an opinion of Forsaken's raise, and I don't think you can get a higher praise, Hypog, on a raise than saying that you look like Jing.
Yeah, that's up there with some of the best accolades you can receive. Again, it comes down to the sustainability for me. Is what is the go-to? What is kind of I guess the new form of these compositions, and whether or not Forsaken switching onto the rays is something they adopt across the rest of the map pool, or not something now with picking up the Gecko more and more, if that's something that he tries to adopt a little more. What is the change?
Yeah, and the last time Texture caused them a lot of problems back at the Pacific Final. And speaking of Texture, let's send it back to Mika Fabs, who's waiting to hear from Texture, actually. Check this out.
Hey Texture, come over here for a bit. Hope you're feeling good, because today is going to be a big, big day. This is the strongest that Genji has looked so far. A lot of people think the same thing. What do you think contributes to the team's success here at this tournament? And we have Eric here to help with some translation.
지금 현재 젠지가 정말 좋은 경기력을 보이고 있는데, 지금까지 젠지가 이런 성과를 거둘 수 있는 데 있어서 가장 큰 요인은 뭐라고 생각하시나요?
그냥 저희끼리 소통 잘하고 그냥 총 잘 쏘는 거, 그게 다인 것 같습니다.
Honestly, I think it's just us talking really well and hitting our shots really well. I think that's it.
All right, well, eager to see what you guys have prepared for PaperX. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I mean, this is the thing with PaperX. They had a bit of confidence issues. They admit they're struggling, but Mimi, Genji are on the other side of the scale. They look and feel great right now.
Yeah, and in particular, all of the win conditions from Pacific have continued into this one. People ask, is Karen as a rookie going to be able to show up and look incredible? He's done that. Is Texture going to be able to maintain this performance? He's shown up. He's done that. I think there can be, though, an argument made that maybe they played some weaker opposition, right? They played teams when they weren't at their height. It was loud in their first match of this event. It was an EDG who was really looking like they were crumbling towards the end of that series. But I think that's not what I focus on. What I focus on is that they're on an international stage. They're playing against a variety of different styles, a variety of different opponents, and I think they're doing still a very good job of maintaining this structured style that they perfected in Pacific, while still having the individuals to pop off when they need them.
Sure, I mean, I would counter that by saying bringing a team like this with, I guess, the international experience that some of these teams do have, to come out and beat Loud, regardless of form, qualifying to Madrid Loud, that's got to be a big bonus for them. And the key thing for me is seeing the energy on stage. It matches how Gen G looked at regional as well. I mean, the opening series-wise, they struggled versus Secret, but still, the energy was super high. Karen was having standout performances time and time again. Munchkin and Texture alongside that. For me, they're looking very comfortable.
I mean, let's talk about Karen a bit more, because on day one, we did say, how does he compare to the other rookies? We had a lot of exciting prospects coming from every single region, and now we've seen him in the group stage. How does he compare?
He looks just as good. Quite honestly, he looks just as good. He could even look better in some of these games. He's still winning these clutches. He's still a consistent fragger. But what I want to talk about more is his presence on the stage. You look at these clips. Every time his team is winning, even when his team is losing, this guy's standing up. He's screaming at the opponents. He's bringing the energy. He's such a young guy. This is his first global event. He's a guy they found in ranked, but he's bringing the vibe against the best. And having a player like that is so important for any team.
And he's dropping some cold lines as well. Was it before Loud? He's like, yeah, well, they won a championship when I wasn't even playing. Exactly. So he's coming out here. He's got the energy.
Too cold.
He's transcending that to the rest of his team as well, and also mimicking that with his performance. In my eyes, I mean, I'll go ahead and say we're only entering playoffs now, but I don't think we've had such a quietly consistent performance from a standout controller rookie. Obviously, outside of Duelist, at any international event so far, I can't think of any
If
rookie-wise.
he keeps this up, I really think he's in the conversation for like best rookie performance. I mean,
absolutely.
Demon 1 probably last year was the next best thing, but this guy's getting close to keeping up that kind of performance.
Hey, he was barely competing when Demon 1 was winning as
True.
well. So
that's even crazy.
We keep saying it's a new era, so.
Yeah, that is the other thing. But it's time for the result of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you if today's regional matches would go the distance, and you said that you believe the Sentinels versus Loud One will. And I feel like, Mike, I think both games will.
Yeah, fingers crossed for both.
Yeah,
that would have been me for sure. No shock to see Sentinels and Loud
The thing
winning
is, people
a Twitter poll.
People who don't think Gen G and PRX are going to go to 3, who do you think's going to 2-0?
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
That's a tough call.
Probably Gen G.
I feel like probably,
Yeah,
but still, I feel like general fan sentiment has been very high on PRX still.
Yeah, we won't have to wait long to find out. But first, let's find out today's map pool and check in with Victoria and our coaches.
All right, welcome to the first map select presented by Omen of playoffs at Masters Madrid. Gen G, you are the higher seed as you came into playoffs 2-0 from Swiss. So would you like Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B. So PRX, you will be Team A, and we will start with your first band.
Icebox.
Icebox. Your band?
Sunset.
Sunset. And map number 1 from PRX?
Split.
Split. Side on Split.
Attack.
Attack. And map number 2?
Lotus.
Lotus. Side on Lotus.
Attack.
Attack. Next set of bands starting with PRX, you have Ascent, Bind, and Breeze.
Band Breeze.
Band Breeze. Your band, you have Ascent and Bind.
Oh no. 이게 Band Bind.
Band Bind. Map number 3 by default is Ascent. PRX, side on Ascent.
Attack.
Attack. All right, good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Well, we've seen these maps already when they played against each other last time, not in the same order, and Mimi Split is going to come up first, the one that PRX did actually manage to win.
Yeah, for Split, honestly, that's a map I don't have too many questions about. Both these teams play very sane comps. They've both been rocking with the double duels. I think what we should be fixating on this series is Lotus, because PRX have struggled to figure that map out. We were talking about it earlier, Mike, but last time they played that double duelist, double controller with no Viper, no Killjoy, they got ripped to pieces by K-Core, and K-Core is excellent at Lotus. But I think that map, to me, is the pinnacle of where PRX is still trying to find themselves, where they don't have a comp that really works. I think that weakness in the map pool could really be exploited today.
Absolutely agree with that. I mean, it was a real head-scratcher to see the way that they played that comp as well. It wasn't as if, we've got the Sky, we're going to front-load some of these rounds and be hyper-aggressive, guarantee that we're in outsides, let the Astra kind of flourish it in a post-plant scenario, but it's a bit concerning if they don't change that up. But the next question then becomes, is like, where do they go again? Have they now had the time to re-prep? We know PRX can turn around comps very, very quickly, but it just feels like such a big gap between where they were versus KC and where they need to be to make Lotus not a glaring concern in their map pool.
I will also say, though, Alex in the press conference, he said the Lotus comp that they did end up coming out with against KC, it was a Hail Mary. He was like, we are struggling.
That's just so terrifying to hear, though. Like,
we had to do something, and was it good enough?
No, it wasn't. Quite frankly, it wasn't. They got rolled by Karmine Corp, and I don't think the comp was good. But the thing is, it's PRX, and I hate to say that because I love to be the person like, oh, they're not playing good comps, they're gonna lose. They're the team that's up. But the thing is that this team, seemingly, even when they have that hole, the maps that they have no business winning, they continue to win at this event.
And that's the thing. That's the hot topic right now. Is like, oh, you guys keep down PRX, and you know they always end up getting themselves.
Because it's the logical thing to do.
It's the logical thing to do, but they are the team to defy logic.
Yeah.
I just that Lotus comp is the one that's a bit out the window. Sure. In my eyes, that's a little too far past it to really justify. But also not taking nothing away from Karmine Corp being a fantastic Lotus team. Maybe it was exposed, you know, exponentially more so than another team.
I want to pull out from the map veto for a second and just talk about this rematch. I mean, first of all, yes, he's correct. But also for Gen G, think about what this would mean. If they could beat PRX a second time, for so many of those players, it's their first time on an international stage. It's their biggest match ever. They made it to playoffs when so many people doubted them, and now they're again playing basically the kings of their region. If they could beat them a second time here in Madrid, make it into the upper finals, guarantee a top 3 spot at their first global tournament, that would be an incredible moment for this squad.
Yeah, I think as well, when you think about teams and their first step onto the international stage, or players individually, you talk about kind of validations, what does it? And claiming an international veteran like PRX would be the second leg to closing out the grand finals regionally versus them in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the fan votes here. Gen G fans, where are you at? Also, shout out to Ulysses, by the way, who's currently hyping out the Gen G fans and the PRX fans as well. But where do you guys sit with here? Are you 11% feeling like Gen G?
I think Gen G's going to win today. I feel like they're favored in this matchup. I think especially looking at this map pool, seeing that Lotus has made its way in.
Yeah.
Gen G have just been so consistent throughout 2024. Their players have been stepping up to a new level, and it really feels like at some point, the PRX magic won't be able to work anymore.
This is the thing, it comes back to the same old for me. My heart says PRX, my head says Gen G, unfortunately. I think as well, if some of these individuals on Gen G continue their performance, or even, you know, start improving on the performance we've seen far, you know, bubbling up with the tournament now coming into playoffs, a little bit more prep time, that's a real concern for PRX if they're going to try and pull out some comp changes or really switch up the way they've been playing, if they've gone into that level of detail of the games we've seen already here in Madrid.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We do have also another curse. You know, we got the 9-3 curse. We have a few curses in this tournament. But whenever there's a rematch, whenever that happens, it does feel like the team that's lost before is somewhat favored going into it again.
Yeah, there certainly is.
Yeah.
I think there's a pressure to do more, to improve, to look back on that match and learn from it. And PRX is a lot better than that. The individuals have stepped up. They've gotten closer to finding their identity again throughout this tournament. I think that this is a moment for PRX that if they can dispatch Gen G here, make it on forward, this is finally the game where it can kind of dispel the doubts that everyone has had around this team, around if they can do it again, on if they just have to rely on these hero plays, especially if they can do so dominantly or in 2 against Gen G, which I think will be really tough against a good opponent.
I don't think this is it too hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any world where that happens, but if they can come out here and get a confidence win, not only is that people looking at them better, but for themselves, right? They're still rating themselves a 6 out of 10.
Exactly.
They're still low confidence. I think
always
they need
a 10
a win
out of 10
today.
to me. Always.
No bias on the desk here at all. But no, I absolutely agree. I think as well, it's really telling to hear PRX talk the way they haven't spent these last few days trying to reinvent the wheel almost, because that's the level of extreme I think they need to go to hear Alex saying W Gaming's run its course, we need something else, now's the time to pull it out.
And as you said, Mimi, this might just be the one that actually gives them the confidence that they need. We are down to our final 4 teams, so let's get the playoffs started. It's Gen G versus PRX and Sentinels taking on Loud. Day 6 of Masters Madrid starts right now.
What's up? Hello.
Dap each other up real quick.
What?
High five each other real quick.
I remember playing against you guys in scrims back in Iceland.
Yeah.
It's been a while since
It's been a hot minute. Yeah.
I remember you guys were insane back then. I'm super happy you guys are here representing the night with us. It's good for a change.
Nobody is standing in Loud's way as Loud make their way to the playoffs easily.
Com certeza, acho que essa última partida foi o nosso pico de performance até agora no nosso time novo.
Sentinels have done it. Sen City here to play.
At this point, everyone wants to beat us. So far, it hasn't worked out for them, and I don't think it will.
Cara, a adaptação do QCK tá sendo muito boa. Eu acho que ele nasceu para jogar com o duelista.
QCK, he just slaughtered VDG.
At the end of the day, anyone can like take it and win it. It's Valorant, so
it's true.
Just who plays better that day.
나도 선글라스 좀 돼?
자, 근데 원태가 되게 깔끔하고 좋아요.
깔끔한데 이 선글라스가 저팔계.
안 돼, 성범형도 Can we win the Masters between me and Genji? I mean, definitely. And even if we don't make it far, I hope they do win the trophy for us, for the Asia Pacific League. Last game against Genji was a pack final, and we didn't manage to win.
이제 플레이오프에 진출이 원래는 첫 목적이었는데.
Genji, this team looks scary. Valakia, it is a return to greatness.
너무 이루게 돼서 기쁜 것 같고 남은 경기도 이제 잘 준비해야 할 것 같습니다.
I can't believe it! PRX keeping hope alive!
Monyet played very well, especially with his calls and stuff. Like he's very confident, unlike the previous matches. I'm very proud of him. Our new kid in the block is ready. You're not gonna meet the same PRX.
일단 저희가 이제 딱히 증명해야 될 필요는 없는 것 같고요. 그냥 뭐 무시당할 그것도 없는 것 같아요.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión, vine por mi cinturón. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
We've seen this matchup before, and last time Genji became the king of Pacifics. But this is a different stage, and a stage that PRX have conquered over and over again.
These teams, they have faced in Pacific, but then that was Genji proving themselves for their first time. People could write that off as an upset, as a one-time run, but now they're here in Madrid. They've done it again. They've made it to playoffs. They have another chance. I think if they can beat PRX today, they can cement themselves as the best team from Pacific coming into this event, as a team who could compete for that title. But they're up against a PRX that no matter how logical you think about them, no matter what you think is going to happen with this team, they always surprise. They always find that miracle, and that's what makes playing them so damn scary.
Yeah, PRX is the definition of any given Sunday, really, of what you get on the day, especially now we're thrown into the mix of potentials for composition changes to come out. PRX looking back at their previous performances, not feeling fantastic about it. Genji now don't necessarily have a very familiar opponent in that regard.
What other team will play a comp for the first time after scrimming it once and then show up and look terrible in the first half, win in the second, not to the same level? Not to the same level, though, man. They show up, they make a miracle happen, and then you'll talk to them after and like, yeah, we just weren't feeling it. They're ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, on the veins of Na'Vi, Angel, he does currently hold the record for the most agents played in a single tournament, but Forsaken is one away. If he just whips out a 7th, a different agent
play
here,
we see
in half the amount of maps too, because Angel did it in 21.
Oh, okay, okay.
So maybe that is the key. Like you guys said, Forsaken, he has been creating a lot of the stuff here, and at least individually, Mike, he's been doing well. He's on form.
Yeah, definitely. I think just to double on from that, the real test for Gen G would be as well, if PRX do completely, especially the fact that we're starting where we are, to start on Split. If that composition gets changed, it'll be another validation for Gen G to come out, obviously prep out the window and just perform bread and butter Valorant, which they've shown time and time again. They've looked very, very clean so far here at Madrid in terms of curveballs coming their way. They can do that versus a team like PRX that are willing to just kind of push all in on a comp first time, bringing it out on international stage. Massive, massive bounce for them.
The thing is, normally when we say that on a desk or on a cast about, oh, you have to do it against PRX, that's the exception. Gen G is used to that. They've played this team twice before. They know about the chaos, and they've adapted to it very well. We're in Agent Select, and it's standard for once in a PRX
standard.
It's double duelist style. It's the old standard from last year.
Yeah.
Teams have moved away from this, but it is still a good comp that I think works very well to these teams' play styles.
Yeah, and I guess as well, abandoning the madness that was the Yoru comp as well, coming out from the Split, which was the iteration that Gen G played against last time in the regional finals.
I'm looking in this matchup at the head-to-head between the rookies, Monyet, and on the other side, out from Karon. Both those guys have come out in their debut international tournament and looked incredible. They're both on the run for one of the best rookie performances we've seen.
And probably been the two loudest on the stage as well.
Yeah, well, let's get this Pacific Showdown underway and send it over to your casters, who's been very familiar with the journeys of these two teams. It's Mixman and TomBiz.
Thank you so much, Insu, and our fantastic analyst desk. Yes, we're pretty familiar with these teams, as I'm sure
they played EDG, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. But, you know, we heard it from the desk. The only thing harder than beating a team once is beating them twice. PRX know that from EG over at Champs. Now it's an opportunity for them to give Gen G a lesson in that very same thing.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of want to touch on what Mike said earlier, where it's like a head over heart sort of situation. I also think it's mind over mental, because the way that PRX play is insane. So you kind of have to almost center yourself. We've seen teams do that throughout the tournament so far. The other problem for these teams as well is, yes, they've played each other before, but as it was sort of said in the interview there, like the video we saw just before, they would both like it if Pacific were able to win. They have never managed to win an international event, and it's almost cruel that they get pipped against each other. The only good thing is they won't have to eliminate each other because one of them goes down and one of them goes forward. That's the only sort of saving grace for now, but it does mean that you're almost wanting to just, okay, both teams play their best so that whoever goes forward is going to be able to match up against America. So I think most people at the moment are favoring in this tournament.
Yeah, it definitely feels like fan sentiment, and even from what we've seen, Sentinels have just looked unchallenged throughout this tournament. Yeah. Other teams have had shakier starts, but
also you saw what Loud did in their last game. I'd be scared of them just as much.
Well, you know, talking about this map in particular, we're going to see Split popping up. And actually, for the whole series, Split, Lotus, and Ascent, the first three maps of the BO5 that they played regionally, that Gen G won dominantly. Now, the reality is, coming into Split, Tom, it's not exactly the same, because PRX before, they were running Forsaken on a Yoru. Himself and Something were diving in, taking so much space and winning almost all of their opening duels. I think it was 13-4, correct me if I'm wrong, where Gen G just got demolished on this map. So for PRX, I understand why they've come in and changed their comps. Like we say, the hardest thing is to beat them twice. So they're bringing a new comp and a new philosophy on how to handle Split. Question is, will Gen G be able to deal with it this time, now that there's nothing spooky going on?
It also seemed like, at least for PRX, once their comp was figured out, they were like, okay, let's change this one. We lost EDG. We need to actually try and fix the things we've got going on. The thing is, though, the same can be said for their opponent, because we saw Gen G come in, switch into this composition, and just look incredible. Like, the double duelists especially, the only change they made was Omen in for Astra, just to allow them to be a bit more explosive. But I just remember that defensive half of Texture and Meteor. I think they both ended up with 22 kills. Both were the best player in the server. It was like going toe-to-toe all the way through. So it is one of those matchups, as boring as it is, where we are just going to go the duelists of the pinnacle. Like, these are the players we have to watch. The amount of times that PRX would have just got absolutely banged if it wasn't Forsaken just having life games. But the thing is, it's every time he plays Split, he has a someone else's life game. It's not a Forsaken life game. It is, okay, for anyone else, that would be the best game they've ever played. Unfortunately, he does that every week.
Well, we talked about this on the desk. I heard Mimi say, well, okay, if you think it's going to be 2-0, who is the team to 2-0 it here? And actually, looking at the veto, right, Split last time went to PRX, Lotus was super close. I mean, if we go based on what we saw in the past, maybe the foundations are there for them to take that 2-0, but I'm expecting a 3-mapper between these two teams. The best of the best, Pacific number 1 and Pacific number 2, and it's time to throw down as the barriers go up on Split.
Yeah, and it's looking like we're going to get a brawl to start things off. Both teams with the majority of their players set up outside this A site. They both run pistols in this direction before. Good nade coming out of Forsaken already, and something, and Mindfreak peeking off the back of it. They're going to be stuck in the corner early on. This is a great start for PRX.
And Munchkin's in danger as well. He tried to jump away. The Boombot was chasing him. Munyet caught him. And for Gen G, 2 versus 5, barely any damage done. At least they've still got the spike. But they have to hope for some serious mistakes at this point. The PRX go running forward, or even rotate, assuming that it's a B hit. But you can see there's no real need for panic on the defensive side. They're just going to hunker down and wait for Gen G to take a step forward and give them the first pistol round win.
Yeah, I think the scary prospect as well is that on this map in particular, we have seen some sort of rougher attack sides out of Gen G. Obviously, that is helped a little bit by having that Omen instead of the Astra. But other than that, it's an absolutely flawless start to this one. Now, as said, expectations for PRX is this is the map that they'll win. If it's going to happen in this series, I think the next two I would favor to Gen G, even more so because of the fact that we saw recently on Lotus the changes to the comp for PRX, and I'll be honest, I didn't like it. It didn't look good. So this is the map that I feel like PRX have to win. The problem is, throughout this tournament, I've said that, and then they've won the other map. Because that's just how they are. They just managed to adapt. They have the individual players that sometimes they can just frag through a map. And that is rare. Like, it is very difficult to have people that are on that level.
At least from the games we've had, Tom, it has been an insane percentage of teams trading out their own map picks, losing your pick and winning your opponents. Gen G, they've not got off to a great start, and as the push comes in, okay, actually they're getting close. The pressure's kind of being applied to Munyet now, blinded up, he's taken down. Okay, it's not a bad start at all for Gen G, gaining some ground, now winning some more fights, and with heals up, okay. It looks like they've tidied it up eventually, but that got very scary for a moment.
I would love to see Forsaken's POV in that, because what it looked like he did was jump down from the heavens with an outlaw in hand and try and face their entire team. Now, that would be ridiculous to even attempt, but
crazy. But do you know who he is?
Yes, I do. He just lost his gun. It's now been given to something, and he's bought a judge to replace it. So that, again, if you're talking about Forsaken, he's basically answered the question himself.
Well, it looks like we're going to be using that dash very early on for something. He's getting aggressive. Wall goes up. He's ahead of it. Looking to take someone down. He got the shot off. 10 HP left on Meteor, but that's the one problem. If you're the one taking contact with that outlaw, you're not going to kill the player.
Sky.
You need to get out.
That's the thing. They can just heal him back up, so that it's actually not that problematic for what was an early battle. You can already see heading over in that direction. Munya is going to get aggressive as well. Bear in mind, this purchase is fairly weak for PRX. Normally, you'd see a rifle or two in the mix, but this is just SMGs. It can work, more so on Split than probably any other map. This crossfire is fairly nasty, but that's the thing I've really enjoyed about Gen G. They've been methodical. They've been careful throughout this tournament. They are not one of those teams that are just aggressively running in and blitzing their way through rounds. They can. They have the skill to do it, but they're always, especially in these sort of rounds, very careful.
And it looks like caution's paid off for them. Whatever noise they made on A has sold it to PRX, who are now running the gamble on an A stack. Of course, there's an outlaw there that could be retrieved. I doubt it even will be. It's quite far up, and the player that will pick it is in heaven, because that spike plant should be coming down in a little bit. PRX, hear no noise, see nobody here. There's a flash still on Divide that could be used to clear outside of it, but this late on in the game, you're just going to sit there, hope they dive into you. And as we can see, they've gone to the exact other side of the map. So for PRX, you know, it's hard to get back into a site with these weapons as well, especially a site like this where pretty much every fight on the way in is long range.
See, normally you talk about, okay, maybe going down to the spike or just trying to hold for exits, but I am waiting for Forsaken to attempt to try and blast back through something, and already Mind Freak taking a lot of control. Now, Texture in a fairly solo position. There's a chance. There's the blast backs already, and there's the judge. Exactly what Forsaken does. He got a rifle, but it's very short-lived. Well held by Gen.G, even with a little bit of chaos.
Yeah, I mean, they spread themselves out there. Lots of space, so even when that judge gets up close, he's only getting the one, and it's an immediate drop. The rest of the players easy to deal with when you've got that kind of weaponry advantage and you're not caught out of position. 2-1. It's a fairly bog standard start to the game. Pistol win for PRX, follow up, and then they lose. I mean, the one thing that we'll say is that maybe that third round could have seen a bit more damage out of that side. But again, they did gamble on a site. It didn't work out. This is what happens. The opportunity, though, to deal that damage here as we get the operator out on something right away. And the shot is not landed. Monyet good for one and drop the B site under threat. But Gen.G back off. The whole time they've been leaving Meteor outside of A to catch a rotation. He hasn't found one, but one can assume that rotation's going on through the spawn right now if you're Gen.G. They don't know that Mind Freak's still very much close.
Yeah, they also flash mid on the defensive side. So they have the information that there was no one there. So they're able to gamble an early rotation in towards this A site. Forsaken still with the judge is just going to make sure he keeps control in mid, but it's slightly more stacked up than you might expect. The only problem is he might get caught. He's switching between utility. Finally, will pull the gun out, but the aggression of his teammate gets absolutely nothing. And well, there is the floor of the judge. Not going to find anything more, and for something, I hope to God he's going to save.
It's not the round you want to see him throw his life away for, is it? A 1v3 with the op? Possible, winnable, but not to be. If you had a few more kills along the way, a few more orbs picked up, something like that, maybe risk it with the Blade Storm, but even then, the op is just so expensive. Doesn't want to throw it out. And for Gen.G, I think they're sort of realizing that they heard the op earlier on, right? They know that it's in play right now. So they're gone spread out. Already sending Munchkin to try and find this player, and based on the time, it looks like he might be safe. They'd have to start hightailing it in that direction now. So an op for the next round, but just look at the credits on PRX. It's not like they're going to be able to fully recover into a standard buy. I think the pendulum's kind of swinging in Gen.G's favor now at 2-2. Economy's under their control, and ults will come online soon.
Yeah, and as I said, when we saw them play against CDG, they had a really stellar, aggressive, and confident defensive side. So I think for them, any sort of grinding out of these early rounds is going to be really important. Sure, you're still going to have an operator onto something, which alone can be enough to cause issues in the round. But as said, they've been methodical. Their utility's been good. They instantly had a snake bite that went through to deny him that early aggression. It's expected at this point. And by the looks of things, they may even just be going for an early A take. They are all set up outside.
I liked what I saw last round. I don't know if you caught it in the replay, Tom, but a fist bump into a high five. Let's see how many high fives there are for Gen.G after this one. They've got a lot of space, but that flash was perfect. Deadly from Devi, and he's managed to slip away towards the elbow. Another fight. And he's actually got a teammate in there. I don't know if they've seen Forsaken, but they certainly have now at heavy cost. Smokes are down, but so too are the majority of PRX players. It's only something left, but he has that off. The 1v2 he didn't go for. The 1v3, it's tempted him. It's pulled him in for the fight. He hasn't found them to start off, though, and that dash already halfway up. Wants to close the distance. So many tough angles, tight angles to clear with this op in hand. And no idea there's a player up top. He's checking the right angle. What a shot! But Lakia was close by, ready for that play. A third round found for Gen.G. They're running away with this early game.
Yeah, still a close round for what was invested. That was a decent stack up in the early stages for PRX, just basically having the majority. And somehow managing to dodge some shots that I don't really know how they did, but bringing it down to just one player surviving, keeping that economy a little bit more honest for Gen.G. And, well, you see the danger of how fast this man is with the operator. The problem, though, is he's not going to be able to have it for this round. They didn't have the extra finances and the quick trading. Again, the fundamentals of Gen.G, sublime.
1 kill, 1 death as well, so he's still 2 away from a Blade Storm. So we're down to just that rifle. But as we said, ultis were coming online. We saw the Seekers used by Lakia, finding a lot of information. This time around, PRX have theirs, but also a showstopper online. That's a big weapon to have in the back pocket of Forsaken and could play a role later on in the round. For Gen G, you can see their spread. This is a full default play. At this point, they're expecting PRX to make some adaptations and to throw out some of that signature early round aggression. Still hasn't happened though. They're happy to bunker down and wait for that push to come through. Like I said, the other problem here, Gen G have a lot of credits built up. If PRX lose this round, it's going to be a skyrocket.
Oh, maybe when. That's not the start they were looking for. 2 players down immediately. Forsaken's been a hero before, but down to just 5 HP. That's not really going to work too well for them. And the Seekers went towards mid, but also in towards the A site. The realization's there eventually. Mindfreak can win this battle. It could be huge. I don't think they're going to expect him. It's such an obscure position to be in, but then it's almost revealed. Devi, though, has done well. Bringing back 2 kills. The spike left. Just about making it to the site, and it is going to bait in. Nice work from the side of Munchkin, teaming up with Texture. It leaves this man who did get healed up early in the round. As I said, he's been ever so devastating. Showstopper might just be able to clear, shoots it into the Viper's pit, but actually, Munchkin's just teamed up with his teammates, just left it. Doesn't even mind about the pit. I don't know if Forsaken realized it, but it doesn't even matter. Loses the fight to his counter raise, and the march continues on for Gen G.
Gen G are having a field day right now. Like I mentioned, the economy was in their favor. The ults that were there for PRX burned up in that round to try and gain some semblance of an advantage. And Divide did incredibly well. In his position, he stayed down in screens, waited for the swing out with the player Munchkin up top, almost sacrificing himself because he's so out in the open. They swung to try and trade him, and Divide had that beautiful off angle to just rip them to shreds. We're seeing elements of that team play there from PRX. We're seeing individuals win some of their fights, but it's not enough right now. Gen G have come locked and loaded with a huge lead to start. I mean, it's double the rounds, but it's the economy that's really the problem for me. You've got players 7K, 5K, 5 and above is average for the Gen G side right now. PRX, they're going to be on stingers, weaker weapons, no ultis to fall back on. It ain't looking great. Off rip. Already, Gen G have found the same number of rounds they did last time they played PRX here.
Yeah, I said it's looked like a different beast. I think they're a team that have done really well with the coaching staff. Someone as legendary as Solo, I don't think you're ever going to have the same mistakes twice. This guy has been around the block multiple times, and even just giving him a moment to talk here is going to be beneficial for them. Mindfreak off to a bit of a slow start as well, but also it is just reliant on those individuals a lot of the time. I think we saw some of the statistics posted earlier is like, you compare the 5v4 conversion, Gen G, I think it's like 70-something%. For PRX, it's only like 60-something. But then they have a higher 4v5 because they have those individuals that can turn rounds on their head. It's not the greatest stat you want to have ever because you'd rather just be winning the rounds outright. But they need some of those heroes to come online because they've been okay, but it's not been enough to take rounds off Gen G.
Haven't seen the numbers of clutches from Gen G versus PRX, but PRX also do very well in those late rounds. Players like Forsaken previously bailed them from so many situations. Now, weaker weapons like we said, and close range surprise factor is probably the best way to find value. Mindfreak has at least picked up one, but Karen is making this one look easy. 3 kills already under his belt, 40 HP, and he's tucking in the corner. It looks like he's going to get this one easily with Mindfreak drop. That's his 4th kill of the round. The confidence builder if ever I've seen one. And that's the last thing that PRX wanted to give to their opponent. Again, not talking about them losing the round. That's expected. It's the amount of players still alive on Gen G. They're farming credits by the minute, but something has picked up one more. 3 to go. One hell of a play if he made it. And it ain't going to happen. Look at that firing squad down below.
Yeah, I think against any other team, maybe it'd have a chance, but Gen G have been so good just playing off of each other, trading effectively, and they don't even lose another member of the squad. 5 and 2, and I love the sort of switch up in tempo, especially in these anti-eco rounds. They're not allowing their opponents to really figure out anything that's going on. You had the instant TP to the back of site, information clearing things out. The rest of the team quickly execute, and Karen actually sticks around. He just keeps the spot, keeps the control. Doesn't allow anybody to get too far ahead, and he even takes himself 4 kills while he's at it, so why not?
This is definitely where on the side of PRX you start to feel that mental pressure applied. defense has been tested again and again. They failed the test again and again. 5 in a row for Gen G, and now ultis are there. Showstopper fired off, and Munyet had no chance. No smokes for the way back through. No paranoia to play with. Still some flashes on Devi, but PRX set up with a man disadvantage on a retake seconds into the round.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to get back in here. As said, they're not bad in these 4v5s, but Gen G are even better in the 5v4s. Opener, again, Karon takes down another Forsaken, trying his best, but he's almost dead. It is, and well, Lackey and Meteor combined might be one of the fastest rounds we've ever had in the VCT. That was so quick from Gen G. And you could just see, the more the confidence build, the faster these takes are getting. Gen G are getting opener after opener. They've used a couple of ults, but they're also able to stagger them. Like you're talking about, Showstopper used this round. Last round they used From the Shadows to get the same sort of information. Although that's already back online.
Yay, oh wow, huge.
Hey, got them the spaces around prior.
Yeah.
And then Karon got 4 kills. That's why it's back online.
Well, this has to be a crushing one for PRX off rip. Because again, they're left to weaker weapons in theory, but they've actually managed to mix a buy with light shields and full shields on something because he doesn't need a weapon. He's got 5 knives locked and loaded. We'll see what he can do with those. But the reality is, yeah, the momentum is very much in Gen G's favor. The economy is riding high after several reinvestments. Just take a look at the credits on that right-hand side. It's looking pretty for a number of rounds to go, maybe for the rest of this half. Still possible for a 6-6 scoreline, but it has to start here with a much better defense. Now, we talked about some aggression from this PRX side, seeing it early on in rounds. So with a minute left on the clock, they're going for it. Good paranoia, but the fights don't go their way. Gen G winning out every single one. There's no competition, Tom. Barely a lick of damage done, and what is negated by the heal. This is a disaster. Something might be able to save them. He's made big plays before with the Blade Storm. There's one! And not 2! Damage, but no kills!
Oh! Munyet has a chance! Somehow this has come back into a winnable scenario. Just needs to hit the bullet! Oh, that's so unfortunate! A nice try for the new man on the block. I didn't think there was any way that that round was going to become competitive. But somehow Munyet made it close. The thing is, though, again, you just have to give props to Gen G. Like, the beginning of this round, they were so ready. They had their whole team just waiting in mid, ready for that push to come through. And sure, the utility from PRX was good onto a couple of the players, but the deeper players were so ready for that push to come in. It ends up being quite an easy fight.
Yo, not even close, guys, not even close.
Yeah, like I said, you know, there was no chance of them losing that clean. I thought something would be the hero, but Munyet, they complimented his calling and his play in the video we saw earlier, and I can see why, if he's fragging out like that. But again, close but no cigar, 7-2. Gen G finding next to no struggles. Close opportunity for PRX to clutch it, and this could have looked very different, but instead, they're on an eco. They've already lost something. Stingers to play with. Sheriff on Forsaken. And Texture's got confidence for days. He sees an eco and he's diving down in the vents after them.
The thing is, they've got so much control towards mid that they have to just be wrapping out from another position. But look how passive the players are. They know that there's going to be weaker weaponry, so they're just not giving them any of the close-range fights. Karon up from above, there's not really an easy way to kill him. Maybe there is. Somehow Munyet got past all the defenses. Even still, though, his post-barn looks strong. Nade still available. They've been taking these sites so quickly that they've had no problems just having late utility. Wow, the time almost looks like it's gone. Trying to bait some space, but it's all too easy for Gen G. Another 3-man player surviving. 8-2 on the board. And this is PRX's map. They have lost 8 rounds in a row. Other than the pistol in second round, they have achieved nothing.
It's hard to think about. Even the round that was close, Tom, it comes on the back of the player needing a 4K to get it across the line. It's not what you want to see. Early on in a series, on a map that previously Gen G got absolutely obliterated on within their region. Now they come to the international stage and...
They might do one better.
Yeah, 13-4 us, well 13-2 you. An opportunity here at least to shut down the first and the second. Munyet does well, Rockets on point. And with Lakia down, it looks like PRX are set to finally put another round on the board. Long have they waited. It's Karen to try to challenge, and he got an opportunity, but it was shut down eventually by something with only one standing. It's an easy win. 8-3. PRX finally back on the board, but hell of a distance yet to go.
Yeah, and again, it comes off some individual brilliance out of Forsaken. Definitely had support. I think he doesn't get that kill if it's not for Munyet being able to kill off the close player, but it's at least a breath of life. We've seen them have strong attacking halves before, so even a sort of 8-4 scoreline wouldn't be a complete death sentence. I'm looking at two operators on the attack, though. Obviously, it's something that can be dropped, but they are waiting for aggression here, and it's coming. It's coming.
They ain't waiting in the right spot, though. Those ops are elsewhere. And that mid control is going to be completely conceded. The golden gun on Lakia. Good to see him showing up. Really swinging. I think he's currently 12 and 6-2 KD on the board and a chance to push it even further at 8-3. PRX tried a mid push, got denied. Now it seems like they're caught 1 foot in the grave. They don't know whether to continue on that aggression or reset for the later play, and Gen.G have not made a decision. With 1 minute 5 seconds on the clock, they don't need to rush. They're holding tight, waiting for PRX to make the mistake.
They're so nervous of someone being within the smokes that are placed. Most of the time, those smokes are being put down by Munyet just to deter aggression, which is exactly what it's done. Texture, though, might have a fight. Because they're so passive, the operator could be so valuable here. There's no one on the backside once again, but the spike is looking to wrap around in the other direction. A peek out from something. Oh, I think Meteor's seen him, but it won't matter too much for now. He's going to activate the dash. Something goes peeking, but now I'm just looking at that timer. TP into the backside once more. It's been cleared out, so the spike will be able to go down. This almost has to be a complete retake.
Oh, nice shot by Lakia as well. There's his 13.
Spike drop.
An opportunity indeed with that spike down. 15 seconds left. It's time for Gen.G to get a move on. Munchkin has to step out from that corner, and he's been caught. They need a dive on that spike and get it planted, but PRX are in their way. 4 rounds at the half. It's not a death sentence, like you said, Tom, but certainly nothing to celebrate. This has been a strong performance from Gen.G. Lakia leading the charge, and plenty more left in the tank for this second half. You have to hope that PRX have got something special planned on their attack, because this was a really, really rough scenario for them to have to fight back from.
Yeah, it is definitely a troublesome position to be here, but the fact is, there's definitely still opportunities. Even still, though, you said Lakia's performing. Let's hear from him now.
안녕하세요. 젠지 e스포츠 소속으로 활동하고 있는 라키아 김종민이라고 합니다. 무엇보다 플레이오프에 진출하게 돼서 행복한 것 같습니다. 일단 첫 스타트가 되게 힘들었었고 오늘 또한 첫 경기 자체는 되게 힘들었는데 그거를 잘 극복해내서 좋은 모습 보여줘서 기쁜 것 같고요. 이제 플레이오프에 진출이 원래는 첫 목적이었는데 너무 이루게 돼서 기쁜 것 같고 남은 경기도 이제 잘 준비해야 할 것 같습니다.
It leaves it down to just one player actually within the site. They have to go running in though. Karen might be able to just ruin their day, and that's exactly what he'll do.
먼치킨 선수가 젠지에 들어오게 되면서 저희 게임 스타일이나 그런 수준이 되게 올라갔다고 생각을 하고 그리고 이제 네, 개개인의 실력 또한 이제 먼치킨 선수가 저에게 콜을 되게 많이 해주는 게 피드백을 많이 해주는 게 있는 것 같다고 생각합니다. 자신감은 늘 넘치고 우리는 준비되어 있고요. 그리고 이제 진짜 더 잘하는 모습과 더 좋은 모습을 보여드리기 위해 잘 저희가 준비해야 될 것 같습니다. 이제 플레이오프까지 진출하게 됐고 이제 또 경기들이 며칠 뒤에 올 텐데 그때까지 더 좋은 모습을 준비해서 저희가 이제 잘하는 모습을 보여드릴 수 있도록 할 거고요. 진짜 항상 응원과 격려해 주시는 팬분들께 너무 감사하고 팬분들을 위해 게임을 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Well, it was 3rd time lucky for Gen.G last time facing off against PRX. Now 4th time fantastic, at least kicking off in that first half. 8-4 when we left you. And now it's time for Gen.G to close this map out. At least that's their mindset going in. PRX, their attack side is about to be put to the test. And the big thing to write home about last time was something diving into sites. The thing is, he had a Yoru causing a lot of chaos for him. Now it's a little bit more conventional, but that's never the name of the game with PRX. In he goes! Something's looking for a fight. Paranoia is perfect. Snake Bite's even better. And with 1 HP, Lucky doesn't stand a chance. The rest of the squad comes in to save him, but they've ended up falling to a 3 versus 1 with Meteor left standing and his back wide open. That's a mistake! And it almost was a costly one too.
Yeah, the Munya needed to hit that headshot at the end. It looked like there was a realm where Meteor managed to turn that back. Even still, though, it is the pistol round for PRX, and that is the thing. Even with this compositional change, the thing that it adds is, firstly, you're going to have that Paranoia available for Munya to sort of set them up in, as we saw at the beginning of that round. But also, it just almost, we're going to continuously see the switch up of who's going in first. So you're going to have Forsaken sometimes taking space for something, maybe if he has that Operator in hand, and something in that round taking space for Forsaken. They are a deadly duo, whether the Yoru's there or not.
There's a reason that they went to this comp after all. Nice shot by Meteor. Opportunity for more, and he's landed that shot as well. Forsaken's very low, a big help to any teammates that end up taking that fight. We may talk about the Outlaw, but this man's making it work with the Marshall, the cheaper weapon. And okay, an opportunity if they had have spotted the player in the corner. Munyet, though, able to deliver the killing blow. Mind Freak fell to a snake bite after being... Oh! What is that push from Meteor? You will rarely see a man with the gall or the gumption to do such a thing. Karen, 1 versus 2. A serious opportunity. Yes, he's far away, but that might mean by the time he gets here, he could pick up a weapon.
It depends, though, because PRX, that's the thing. The blitz plays of PRX have been so fast that there's actually still loads of time. They don't need to over-aggress. They've just thrown out the guiding light, the flash, to get them a little bit of extra information. Still no weaponry found. Now, Karen does have himself a Paranoia. He's brought up his full belt of utility. If he can somehow isolate one of these jewels, for now at least, it seems like he's waiting for that site to be taken. Smoke will give that away, the spike being planted, and now he can look to try and see if there's any gun to be had, and, well, there you have it.
Thank you, Yeti. Yeah, we've got a Bulldog to play with, 100 HP, a Paranoia still online, both smokes. Timing is key, and they swung him together. That's a 3-2-1, perfectly on cue. They won the round, Tom. 3 players down. This definitely isn't how they would have wanted to start it. When I add to that it's a Marshall headshot, okay, what can you do? And another Marshall headshot from a guy pushing a smoke close range, using it like a shotgun. That's not going to feel great. And the other player died to a snake bite. So, few kind of random engagements that ended up, well, rocking the boat a little bit for PRX. We'll see how they recover.
When the thing is as well, the player you really don't want those alls to be going over to is Meteor. 3 away from the Bladestorm. Even just a bit of damage in this round, and he'll have something for the next. Now, this purchase from PRX has players now fairly low on cash. You've got Forsaken and Mind Freak down at 150 credits. So for the next round, they might be in a little bit of trouble. Forsaken, though, he's just gone walkabouts. He's sprinting after Lakia, but he isn't going to be able to land the shot. And at least for now, it's only going to be the control that's lost for Gen G.
Yeah, no heavy price tag associated with it. Down in vent, this is an uncouth hole. 2 players and they're dropping in, landing on each other's head. It couldn't be easier for Lakia, signed, sealed, and delivered to this man with the heal up for his teammate. Munchkin's going to be back up in fighting form, and in a 5v3, that's another nail in the coffin for PRX. Tagged up a little on a ranged fight, and what an adjustment from Munchkin. Clinical, as now there's only 2 attackers standing. Their chances are looking pretty slim.
Yeah, he almost killed Devi through the screen as well, so he's going to be half HP, entering the site. They don't even know the Munchkin's there. A perfect reposition. This might be a flawless return to form, as Devi's the only man left standing. A 1v5 scenario. Talk about, can he do any semblance of damage? As said, they invested some extra credits into this round, so the next round's not exactly going to be pretty. Wouldn't normally talk about saving, but I think actually holding onto a gun here would have more value, and he's just been seen knowing exactly where he is now. I imagine there's going to be pressure placed onto this man. Blast packs could be thrown in, but it's just going to be the entirety of the squad looking to just jump down upon him within those last few seconds. Well, it's not even needed. First one gets the job done, and Gen G will extend their lead.
5 players alive, you know, it's a little scary because it feels like since the very beginning of some of these halves, Gen G haven't had a problem when it comes to economy. And I think for this 6-9 scoreline, PRX attack side, they get a decent buy out of it. And, you know, it might even seem weird if you look at the timeline. You lose the third round after winning first two. What's the issue? The issue is the damage done. 2 players alive coming out of both of those rounds. It meant constant reinvestment, and PRX now left with a Stinger and a Sheriff. Light shields on most players. Some heavy disadvantages to play with, and that orb, well, I mean, it kind of has worked because Munchkin fell into it, but not doing exactly what they intended.
It's not going to cover up above. They've had to re-smoke it. Again, an explosive start to the round. Almost a kill. Well, I say almost. They've ended up with 3. This is exactly what PRX does. These fast-paced plays into the site. As mentioned, this was a weaker purchase. They had some pieces missing with that Sheriff and Stinger. Now that you look towards the players of Gen G in this 2v4 scenario, Flash is already going to reveal Texture's position. And they've spotted Karen as well, although I say that, the peek out never really came in. The player behind the back of the site should have probably seen him. Now it gets a little bit more interesting. Space given to Texture, but it's both shots landed by Mindfreak. He's been quiet so far, but popping a couple of heads with the Sheriff isn't going to go amiss.
Well, this is definitely the time to wake up. You know, we gave the same caveat coming into the last half, and then Gen G ran away with it. But here, a challenge early on, and more importantly, a challenge with so many weaknesses on the board. I mean, this was a round where you have a couple of rifles, and what ends up winning it is a Stinger diving onto site, 2 kills out of a Sheriff to close the round out. Doesn't get much better than that. It was even a classic jumping around the corner to find one of those opening duels in elbow.
It's also now, you've talked about, it's 8 rounds in a row that were lost. An 8-2 scoreline. The difference is now just 2. That's how close PRX have managed to bring this. Going on to their favored side, the B site under serious pressure. Half the team still waiting patiently. Karan's reposition. It's Sublime. He's managed to TP behind them. He gets away with murder. Brilliant from Karan. We talk about picking this player out of ranked. He's put the rank play into the pro play.
And it works. You know, sometimes you just got to throw out those curveballs. You're focused on so many different things. You don't think the Lunatic's going to be up top, but my goodness, what a reposition from him. And clearly one that wasn't expected on the other side. And again, we fall back into economy discussion around this squad. They've been sitting pretty. They've been looking fantastic. They were able to obviously rebuy in this round because of the damage done early on. And, well, they only really needed one of those rifles by the looks of things. A timeout called by PRX as they can now feel that it's getting very late into this game. We're at a stage where if Gen G picks up one more, they'll be knocking on victory's door. So, yeah, 17 and 14. He's had a great game, but I think that double kill from Munchkin, that tripled his kills.
Mindfreak.
I said Munchkin, sorry, I meant Mindfreak.
Yeah.
Munchkin's been doing well.
Yeah, Munchkin's
He's
triple his kills, that'd be impressive. But yeah, no, Mindfreak's definitely had a quiet performance. I also think something, though, like we talked about the duelists in this matchup, other than, I'd say even Forsaken, they've actually all been a little bit underwhelming. It's been other players stepping up in this matchup, and I think that's really what we're seeing at the moment is the depth of both teams individually, but more so just that interplay. I think we're seeing much better fundamentals out of Gen G, and it's mostly been those explosive plays from PRX, like going off the back of a paranoia, everybody diving in together, and you see if it's even a slight bit disjointed like that round, Karan just pulls out a crazy play and is able to win the round for them. 10-7, as you said, everything on the brink here. Seekers available. On the other side, a Bladestorm as well for Meteor, but I don't know if he'll use that in this round unless he sees the value. An immediate setup for the Paranoia, but this is a ruse. The spike is over on towards B.
Costly ruse, perhaps. Forsaken. The decay is going to fade, but he's still half HP, and Munchkin finds it too easy to deal with him. One well-placed shot, and he's down and out. Now we need to see the return for Gen G as another is found. Something falls. 2 rifles still in play. Seekers still in play. And a few flashes here and there. 1, in fact, just on Devi. It's not a lot for them to fight their way back through with utility, but it's this man's position that might get them something. He's found another with the weaker weapons. This man's an animal. Oh, he's being put down. And for PRX, they look to take it elsewhere, but those steps are heard. Meteor's in position, unbeknownst to them. You might have her trail, but, well, it's a little more difficult to deal with her cleanly. Mindfreak, the last man standing, 1v3, and Munchkin's already spotted him. He's a known quantity with a flank underway. Munchkin just needs to buy some time, back off, and let his teammates take it. And gets this kill. He's got himself a Viper's Pit to play with. Or if he dies, I suppose.
That's the thing. He's literally just playing with him because he knows that flank is coming. I really love it. It was brought up by Lakia in the halftime interview that he believes that like playing with someone like Munchkin has brought a lot of depth to his own playstyle. And you can just see the intelligence even in this round. He literally just pulled Mindfreak towards him. He had no plans to fight him at any stage. Wants to just play the higher percentage play. And that's why Gen G have been able to convert a lot of these advantages. And for PRX, a lot of the time I don't mind these gambles, but I feel like Forsaken has been one of the sort of glimmers of hope. So you were almost going, he has to get something, otherwise it's just now a push without him going into the site. And it didn't work with him.
You know, the thing is for PRX right now, at an eye test, you might think it's not doom and gloom. 11-7, 4-round gap, it's not that bad. There's a chance for them to fight back, albeit here with weaker weapons, but they've looked good there. The problem is, they've won 4 of those 7 rounds off the pistol and follow-up. Like, the injection of rounds early half makes this look like a much closer game than it is, but Gen G have been dominating in rifle rounds. Now they've got 4 ultimates to fall back on, up against weaknesses, but no Lakia. A big opening kill for the side of PRX, as Heaven could now be theirs. Gen G might start to panic, might make a mistake, and with Munchkin inside the smoke isolated, that might just be the mistake they were looking for.
Oh, this could be big! He actually switches away, and it's just going to be the shutdown, surely, from Meteor. He starts off the round and ends it as well. 12-7. This map looking over. As you said, in terms of buy rounds, we've barely seen anything. 3 of them, in fact. Well, guess what, Mitch? They need 5 in a row.
5 in a row, up against 4 ultimates, only the Blade Storm that's gone. Like, keep in mind, Gen G have a full buy with Seekers, with a Viper's Pit, with a Showstopper from the shadows. And so that's a lot for this defensive side to close out this game. If you remove those ultimates, it looks like they'll close out the game because they're winning almost all of the buy rounds thus far. The closer rounds for PRX have been individuals, and they need to show up individually and together. 5 in a row needed, and the challenge already underway.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, he put down early utility to try and slow this push a little bit, but the fact is, he underestimated the pacing. Lakia in the corner, but they expect it. He's stuck in the mud. Good utility usage in this round. It leaves now Karen. He's had some magical plays, but they know exactly where he is. Well, it seems so. Munya goes bouncing past him. Now, there is a flank, and no one really watching it, although it seems like Texture was doubting the player behind. Also a 1v1 taken, but it won't matter in the end. A 1 versus 5. Some serious mistakes needed, and Munyet's going to put him down immediately.
Okay, there it is. The start of the way back for this squad. They've actually managed to deal with the vast majority of the ultimates as well there, Tom. Gen G are left now with just a Viper's Pit. We listed all of them last round. They got used, they found nothing. So not only winning a buy round, but winning a stacked buy round in terms of ult economy. And they've still got some left to play with themselves. The Blade Storm can help out. The Pit can win rounds. And with 4 needed, Gen G are finally seeing some negative economic state. No, that peek from Lakia was not expected. Good flash too, and it's a double. He's got his teammate Meteor with him, and they're absolutely extinguishing the flame of PRX's early fight. This squad's gonna have to go back and reconsider, surely.
Yeah, I like this. Just a direct counter. These A-side takes have been one of the major problems. Viper's Pit, although they might just about win 2 duels. A little bit dangerous, spamming. And because of that, being able to get rid of Meteor is a big pick, because that was looking like map control and a man advantage for Gen G. Instead, much more of a problem. And also bear in mind, Lakia is the only one who can't be healed.
That cam there is very important. Just seeing something clear the spawn, you see how much space they lost, because this Viper's Pit isn't just stopping a push, it's stopping all of PRX's plans. Their plan was to blitz A. They get slowed, they get stopped, and now they have to go back and re-clear everything. Even if there's not a player flanking, if they're just pushed up in B main, holding that aggro intel, you're going to find it very hard to actually dive in. Now, this TP is to B side. Up top, it's going to be broken last second with something down below, spotted and taken down. Gen G have the advantage. They're going to challenge Munchkin inside the pit. And what a mistake that was. Welcome to his world with Munyet, the last man standing, and a free kill presented. He's got 3 more to go.
15 seconds.
He's found the 4Ks in the past, Tom, but this would be exceptional.
He doesn't have time.
Good luck to you, and good night.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough there. And the fact is, the running through of that Viper's Pit with the spike, they needed to clear that man out immediately. It did not happen. A stellar map, losing both pistols and only losing 8 rounds. What a performance for the side of Gen G.
It's even more impressive considering Munyet on PRX, a player that we've highlighted again and again, that it was a big talking point, not just from the desk, but even from the team themselves when they were being interviewed. And he comes out fragging. The calls were good. We had some good fake plays, but at the end of the day, this was a Gen G map. 13-8 doesn't sell it. This was convincing. And now they move on to their pick of Lotus after this.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Life hands you bad lemons, try and make it lemonade. Easy on the sugar cane, switch it to agave. Gave it all I had, love. I can't do agape. My conditions written out. Take it up with God, hey.
You can pay me for my time though, and it all on the high note. I don't like to say goodbye. Found out I'm probably irate.
Hey guys, Mika Fabs here, and I'm with Solo and Jen here to help with some translation. So Solo, of course, a lot of teams talk about how PRX is a very shocking team to play against if you don't know them well, but Gen.G does know them well. So how do you as a team dissect their style?
페이퍼렉스가 익숙하지 않으면 그 플레이 스타일에 상당히 당황하기 마련인데 좀 젠지 같은 경우에는 페이퍼렉스 스타일에 대해서 충분히 잘 알고 있고 잘 분석이 돼 있잖아요. 페이퍼렉스를 상대로 좀 어떻게 경기를 풀어나가려고 하셨나요?
일단 페이퍼렉스가 진짜 많이 공격적인 팀이다 보니까 피지컬을 앞세워서 게임을 많이 하는데 저희 또한 피지컬이 지지 않는다는 생각을 하고 있거든요. 그래서 저희도 역으로 저희도 공격적으로 하자는 식으로 많이 얘기를 많이 하고 있고요. 그런 게 좀 잘 되는 것 같아요. 네, 저희가 피지컬이 좀 더 좋은 것 같아요. 지금은. 네.
Of course, PRX infamous for their W gaming, but I feel like Gen.G players can match up to their firepower as well, and I feel like we're shooting more heads too today. So we just came into this matchup with the mindset of, you know what, fight aggressive teams with aggressive attitude. You know, don't be afraid to take those fights, don't give them too much respect, and I feel like we're just having a really good day overall.
Yeah, it's looking really good for Gen.G, so thank you very much. Let's see if they can close this out.
It's not just a good day. They've had a great tournament so far. I'm Yingsu and I'm back here with Mimi and Hypok. You heard it from Solo there. They're confident, they're hitting their shots, they know how to deal with PRX. And Mimi, it's not looking great on the other side.
Yeah, to be quite honest, I think that Gen.G looked like a better PRX in this game, right? They had the ridiculous individual moments, they had the pop-offs, but they also had excellent fundamentals. You compare the info these two teams were getting on their defense with the Sky Util. Gen.G was always on point with the rotations, setting up reclears, swinging together, whereas PRX looked like a team who was, you know, playing for the individuality.
Yeah, and the telling thing for me is Gen.G willing to step into that zone with PRX, where, you know, you have the flood pretext or, you know, stacking up bodies and looking very aggressive engagements. Gen.G, we're getting down and dirty with them. I'm kind of coming out on top.
Yeah, you guys are hyped up the rookie, Karen, coming to this a lot. And here he is in the Verizon high-speed moment, round 17. I mean, you gotta check your corners, man. You gotta check it.
This is exactly the sort of scenario that I'm talking about, right? Making plays like this, getting ahead of this execute. You lose to PRX when you allow them to execute onto you, come up, play very aggressive and carry it. I mean, Tom nailed this as well in the cast. There's a sort of rank play that catches PRX off guard because they don't expect people to match their level of unorthodox.
I think that's exactly the point, right? They're used to teams playing back, cowering in fear, playing for flood retakes against a squad like this instead. Gen.G can give it to them. They're so willing to get proactive, to fight into these executes, and their site anchors were constantly staying alive, doing stuff like that, and actually buying time for the team to rotate over and help everyone out, which you contrast that to PRX. Their players were trying to do the same thing, and they were getting owned by the executes.
Yeah, and you saw it in the vibes as well. After every round, they were giving it, they were shouting across the stage. And on the other side for this, for PRX, as we take a look in the AIM lab shoot-around, Monyet, again, he was kind of one of the players we were really looking forward to watching, but what else has he got?
I mean, he was looking pretty deadly at the start of this map here. Again, super aggressive, almost like in the pistol round he forgot he was put onto the Omen. Still on the race for some reason, jumping in. But there's just a number of situations where you're looking here, and I was talking about, you know, some of the aggressive plays the PRX made. They felt very disjointed. It felt like it came down to one person delivering at the end of that sort of play, as opposed to the typical PRX, too strong on the front line, fragging together.
And I think that's exactly it, right? Like, this is a team that can rely on those moments against lesser teams, can rely on those moments against a team that's not familiar with them, but Gen.G knows them so damn well. They're used to dealing with these individual plays and not letting it get past them.
I mean, we've been here before. I'm not expecting a smile from this man, but I am expecting a solution. Let's hear what Alex had to say ahead of map 2.
Hey guys, I'm here right now with Coach Alex of PRX. So we did see that, you know, although the team struggled on that map, once the side switch and PRX was on attack, you got some of that momentum back. And we do know that the team is a very momentum heavy based team. So what do they usually need to hear, like maybe from you, in order to get that push, in order to, you know, get that swing into their favor?
I mean, usually momentum comes when you win some rounds, you know, so I try to just figure out how to win the round. And then if it goes well, you know, then we can snowball.
And I guess calm them down a little bit and make sure that they get their nerves in check, yeah?
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if PRX can wrangle in those nerves and get map 2.
Alex, you've done this before. You made the comeback before. Come on, boys. I want to see them have some fire in their bellies.
Dude, Yinsu, we gotta get you down there. They need this energy for map 2 or they're gonna be in the lower bracket. Looking at this comp, what is this, Mike? The 4th new comp they've played on this map?
Yeah, we've gone back again. We've got the Cypher back in and Monyet back on the Raze, so I guess maybe then an indicator we did see that on Split. He's going to be the front man here on Lotus.
This does fix the issue of having these flanks open. It fixes that issue, but I think there's another issue in this comp. You're lacking stall util, and on the attacking side, you're way more readable because you only have one piece of smoke util. I think that Forsaken is going to have to be very specific with how he uses his cages to make up for not having this Viper.
And the big concern last time, actually, is that eyes go towards Devi here. His inability to really have impact alone on his utility and opening up opportunities for PRX in the mid-round was absolutely, it was absent last time with the Astra comp, so really going to be scrutinizing him.
Oh, well, PRX, if they don't win here, they will be going into elimination on day 1 of playoffs. Mitchman and Tombiz, how are you guys feeling about this one?
Well, Yinsu, I'm feeling excited because at worst, we should have a good game on our hands. Last time around, Gen.G won both pistols here on this map, and it was still a very close game with them barely edging it out 13-11. Now, Tom, they come in with momentum on their backs and a map that they've put the prep into. For PRX, it's looking like elimination might be on the line soon.
I don't mind the change back, because obviously this isn't the comp they played last time, but it is the comp they ran versus Heretics. I think it's slightly better for them overall. Still has something on the Jet as well, because they had a similar comp to this, but with him on the Reyna. I think this just allows him to do more damage. I like the start, though, from Gen.G. Oh, okay. They had that 3-man push initially. Didn't expect anybody to still be around the angle, and because of that, they've lost the first battle.
One man down already, but the rest are rotating into the right spot. The read is good from the side of Gen.G as they move to the A site. Here comes PRX diving a little quicker than expected, but there's the return. They're not expecting this many players to be on that defensive side already. Anchored down, and they're winning the fights, leaving Devi all alone. The 1v2, good damage done, and the follow-up, and he's out of ammo. Knife out, and Karen wins! He brought a knife to a knife fight. 3 kills already. This guy's been sensational.
Got respected from Karen. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be the coward. I'm not gonna go and reload.
Respected it.
I'll take you in the 1v1. And well, I'll win it out. And well, PRX, that was again. We talk about the advantages and their conversions. What was that? 5v3 as they get into the site. They get the initial opener and they get an entry, and then they don't convert the round. It's good work from Gen.G, but you always have to look at PRX and go, these are moments that you expect them to be able to convert. Not the start they were looking for. And again, we're going to see the same proactive approach from the defense, constantly looking to garner extra control. And PRX, they're going straight into the site.
Oh yeah, look, they're willing to dive. You can tell that as soon as Monyet picks up this agent, and well, he very nearly died to the turret. Not a good start, but Spike should at least be plantable. No nade left online for Gen.G. Nothing to really force these players out of the corner.
Spike planted.
With that seize, it's keeping him in position. It's only deducted about 10 HP or so because he was so low. And the problem now is you have to fight back through all these close range angles where PRX have the numbers to play with on a lot of the fights they're going to take. Decent damage on the headshot, good follow up, and then it's clean house for Gen.G. 2 players lost, not the end of the world.
Yeah, could have been much worse. Interestingly, yeah, something buys shields into that round. So maybe hoping that they could get a kill and he could steal a gun away, but doesn't come to fruition. Texture as well as one off a showstopper going into round number 3. So especially on this map, it definitely is a little bit more difficult to challenge for those orbs, but it might mean that we see a bit more of an A push, an opportunity to find something there. Well, this is where we are going to get the investment. Mitch, you'll be happy. Forsaken is already bringing in an Odin.
Listen, he's a wise man. I've always said that, Tom, and he's just proven my point, isn't he? You won't expect this off rip if you're Gen.G, and a little bit of danger for Texture. That crosshair's lined up on his head, and it's done some damage, some serious damage by the looks of it. Down to 77. Texture's tagged. Lucky is dropped. And we can continue on with the spams. Heals for most players. Devi the only one to stay quite low, not having anyone to bring him back to full fighting health. The reality is, though, they're in a pretty good position. The close range spot by Karen shouldn't be left unchecked. There's still a flash on Devi. You expect that to pop as they move forward. No, in fact, it's just a double swing, and the same thing there. Exactly. Clean trades for PRX.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be fight after fight. Meteor now has to try and pull off some individual brilliance as well. I think a little bit too predictable on when he'd make his move. Munchkin on the other side of the map, and the thing is, he could just hold this through to the next round, but I don't expect him to. When there's an opportunity to have an upgrade, maybe take a gun away.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, I mean, not a position you're going to be clearing a lot of the time. Done well to start. Player close is low. Devi and Mindfreak both playing without shields and with a bit of dent to their health. Forsaken also with no shields and no head anymore. This is getting very costly for the attacking side, with Munchkin not stopping anytime soon. He's already picked up 3, and now he's quickening his pace to the site. The time is so desperately low, and he doesn't know where Devi is. The element of surprise gets PRX the kill and the round. But at what cost?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Every single gun just goes for overhunting a player that was going to have a gun in the next round anyway. Like, I understand wanting to earn those extra orbs up, but this is one hell of an overextension. Just constantly fighting versus a player that had a bulldog. Munchkin, well, you can already see him smack talking, and well, it's not the only thing getting smacked.
Wow. Round 4, and there's going to be a real challenge for this attacking side. Weakness is already seen. Chance for Gen G to shut down the way back through for PRX very early on. We know this is a map that both teams can pull to tight contention, but with Gen G having done that extra work on it, picked it into this series, I'm worried for PRX. It's early times just now, but with showstoppers online for both squads, we knew this was coming. Monyet's on the way, head caught on the arch on the way through. It slowed him down enough and actually bought some time for Meteor to escape. And for Munchkin to round the corner, no one's going to go down to that showstopper, but it's claimed a lot of space.
Yeah. Oh, they don't realize how close Karen is. He had to move because of the Tiger. Monya's going to try and aggress. This is risky. Multiple players on the other side. Showstopper, he should be dead. He actually almost manages to catch one. Even still, though, for Gen G, this is looking fantastic. Timing couldn't be worse for something either. It's going from bad to worse for PRX. They need to find a miracle through these spams. At least been able to get one, but they don't know if the player's still on the spike. The second tab will definitely help them out, but it's not Odin just going through. Too many bullets to dodge there. But Gen G, they break back immediately. And well, we mentioned them losing all their players. It's going to hurt now.
Yes, yes, it absolutely is. Now you see the butterfly effect of that. Well-placed showstopper by Textures. We said there were 2 online, only 1 found its mark. And then the chaos afterwards. Every time you see someone on PRX turn their crosshair to look towards an angle where they've just seen someone swing or they've just lost a teammate, they get shot in the back, because that's the exact timing that Gen G go for the retake on all sides. Gorgeous stuff, 3-1. Odin being kept through, Lakia going way up in my estimations, let me tell you, buddy. And the spams, well, they're not having too much success, but they don't need to. In this round, PRX have basically nothing to play with. 4 sheriffs.
Well, also they've already taken the control. That's the main reason. You've got Karen aggressively up. It's allowed for a gamble rotation, so he's just moving that Odin elsewhere. Not the most common door to spam, because you are open to a couple of angles, but it won't matter. And this is the thing. We've seen this scenario many a time. Find a kill, TP back. Karen is excellent at knowing when to reposition as well, so they can leave those spots open. This is ambitious.
Where is he going? Where is he going? He's made it just about around that corner, but well, that was risky. If they came through that wall, Tom, I'm not sure that would have went the way he was thinking. Spray good for Munchkin. It's a narrow alleyway to fight in, and wow, that's a lot of damage. No chance for PRX here. Of course, we did mention they have those weaker weapons. They don't have a lot to play with, and they'll get nothing done. A flawless round. I hate to harp on the economy, but Gen G off to a flying start with it yet again. Yeah. It's feeling reminiscent of last map, but it is still very early days. Plenty of time for PRX to find their footing. They don't want to waste time throwing rounds away. They've called a timeout.
That's the funny thing. We might actually get to the point where we can just highlight when Gen G don't have money.
Yep.
We'll just save time.
Yep. Yep. It's the play.
They've had it the whole time throughout the series. I like the pause, though, coming out for PRX, because this has been rough. And even looking back versus KC, they struggled when it came to this attack inside. A lot of that was a bit of a peculiar composition, but I don't know if this one's looking any better for them right now. Also, it has a lot of reliance, again, on this double duelist. And there was a moment or two at the beginning where I was like, okay, something looks like he's here to play. But ever since then, they're just getting boomed. And everyone on the other side for Gen G has looked utterly fantastic. In this round, at least, one off a Blade Storm. Showstopper, the only ult that isn't going to be playing a part in this round for either side. And Munchkin already having that Viper's Pit online. And clearly, this is a time where Alex needs to earn his money. Otherwise, I think PRX are taking that fast track straight to the lower bracket.
I want to at least get that third map out. You know, officials are a different ball game to talking about regional play, especially against a team you've already played on that map. You're testing so many deeper things, and I think for them, bombing out like this in the uppers, it wouldn't speak well for what's to be seen, because Loud Sentinels, they're not going to be any easier.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't want to face up against either of those teams right now. Here we go, though. Again, early paranoia. I think this one is not really going to be played upon. I like the idea, again, using that haunt to get them space, but something, I think he's just going to disrespect the utility. Had enough of these pushes coming through. He is going to get pinged up. They know where he is, and Texture's already there to support.
That's it. They're trying to punish the Odin. They know that it's not easy to fight from this angle, especially when the door gets opened, and now he's dead. But that's what it's all about on Gen G, filling in the spaces and being able to fight afterwards. But with a return from PRX, they've got a real chance. The headshot angle held by Mindfreak, but Meteor's just ducked underneath it, playing the limbo, and he's winning this game with Mindfreak down. It's 45 HP, and a dream turned to a nightmare. PRX losing out on another. They had a good pacey take, managed to put the players on the back foot, and filled in every gap that Gen G were trying to stuff their way into. They always had someone to take that second fight. PRX had someone to take the third. This time, though, they lose out when it comes to the post plan. I think you gotta say, they really could have used that round.
Yeah, this is one of those things as well where Meteor's in a 2v2 scenario. The amount of times I feel like I've watched him just get both kills and his teammates still rotating. Like, he's just so confident at this stage in his individual ability, and even just ducking under where he assumed his opponent would be holding. That was, again, another big round for PRX. A lot invested, even having some decent early trades, but it isn't to be. And now, well, Blade Storm is really all we could talk about, and they're still ready for his initial play. Almost goes down, but has managed to dodge that singular bullet fired by Texture.
Yeah, the thing is that's sending them elsewhere. Forsaken was trying to claim some space by sneaking through. We saw good success for that. I think Monyet on the previous map was thrown at a few of those little feelers. But the idea now is you can't play up against that op. This ain't the round for it. Your Blade Storm's already gone, and everyone else has pistols. Close range, numbers advantage is the way to go, and they've done it, at least trading out the first. Karin, though, he has been consistent every single time they've challenged him. This guy's coming up with multiple. 7-2 right now. Teammate ready to swing, and luckily, because Karin was dropped very quickly, so too is Meteor. Hell, it's winnable for Divine, but his knife was pulled out. Tried to evade some spams or some, well, players emerging from the smoke. Unfortunately, he jumped right into their crosshair. 6-1 for Gen G, and 4 ultimates online coming into round number 8.
It's one of those scenarios where, again, PRX have made some of these rounds look somewhat competitive, but Gen G are consistently able to clutch out the late round. Again, as you said, ults are in their favor, finances are in their favor. There's at least a lot coming online in this round for the side of PRX. Counter operator going to be invested into on something. He has had a very quiet start to this game, and a reaction shot from Texture already puts down Monyet.
You see the idea as well? We see the aggression, we try to take space elsewhere. Denied on A, because Gen G are getting aggressive, giving PRX a taste of their own defensive medicine. This is a really good start with 4 ultimates to fall back on, 3 of which will help you out if you're in a pinch. For PRX, where do they go? Where do they take it? Maybe they can get a neural theft if they can even drop a body. And they cannot.
Oh, no.
A wallbang kill with the Odin from Lakia. That's something dropped. That's the op down, and he's looking for a little bit more. I don't know where they're going to take this on the attack, but I think I know what the result will be regardless.
Forsaken's been quiet as well, and reposition. Nice shot at least. Will make things that little bit more interesting. The reveal as well will tell exactly where their opponents are. Knowing there's only one player here, the turret though, keeping things disruptive. And Meteor, again, full sprinting to help his teammate out. It gets close for a matter of seconds, but Gen G continue their utter dominance in this match. 7-1 on the defense. I don't know, yeah, second pause is going to be called for PRX. At this point, I feel like they're running out of ideas. I also just did tidbit as well. Last 3 times, Gen G have won, played and won this map. 8 rounds on attack, 9 rounds on attack, 9 rounds on attack. They're 7-1 up on defense.
Ooh, that's not good, Tom.
No, I would say that's very bad if you're a PRX fan.
That's quite poor. Yeah, and the reality is for PRX, you're looking at the last time they played this map against this squad again. You know, I was looking back at that series, which worked perfectly for me today because it's the same maps. But the funniest thing is something. He was on the Reyna and he was popping. He was doing well. Will I say it justified a Reyna pick? Maybe not. But we know on a good day he absolutely can. This time, I don't care what agent he's playing, he's having a damn tough time. 2 and 8. Compare that to Split last time, finding so many opening entries on that attack side. Now listen, I'm gonna be the last person to complain about Jet dying on the attack, right? Often that's your job. But here we haven't seen those dive plays as consistently, at least that hasn't been the crux of their attacking side. The problem is, how many rounds have we seen where literally 10 to 15 seconds in, it's 3v5. No control, no benefit for it. One guy goes down, they push somewhere else, that guy goes down, then they sit there with nothing to do.
Think about the spots that Gen G are also willing to claim. Like, they pushed out 2 players in all the way past Mound. They weren't even holding the deep angles anymore because what's the point?
And
they're
they pushed
try and
A
swing through
with 2
them.
players in the same round.
Yeah.
Right? So like this is the thing. You even peek your head out and go, oh, are they rubble? Yep, they are. I'm dead.
Yep, they're everywhere.
Now we have no advantage. We're playing
They're
from
going to push
behind.
B. It looks like they are. Insta smoke. B control being taken by 3 players. Just waiting to see if the push will come through in that direction. It's going to allow them the fast take back of this control. Paranoia immediately put through. The trade's not awful in the beginning, but they quickly divulge into nothing for the side of PRX. Forsaken trying to claim it back though. Finally, he comes alive.
Well, this is the round that he needed to wake up in. That spike is theirs, and they can walk it straight to the C site once that door is closed. 16 HP, Mind Freak on 42, but Texture's got an op and a nade. And there's a snake bite left. This could be very, very dangerous indeed. For now, though, Texture's not deploying the nade. Instead, sitting down, op in hand, 16 HP, turned to 0. Nice shot with the operator as Mind Freak now has a nade below him. He's safe up top. He's got the angle, could even pick off Munchkin. That could make it winnable, but Texture's a little too quick.
I love it.
I didn't think he could fire off that quick.
It's just like, he's got an op as a negative, and then it's like, no, never mind.
Wide swings it. Like, all right, we're quick scoping now, but that's the level we've hit for Gen G. 8-1, Tom. Yeah, I almost wanted to say coming into this map, well, it can't get any worse. It just has. It was 8-2 at least last time.
Yeah, it definitely is looking like a golf in class, which, again, considering this is the #1 and #2 from the same region, that we've already seen them play a best-of-5 series that was a 3-1, and a lot of the maps were close. It looks like Gen G have leveled up, and for PRX, I don't know if they've fallen off, because that's looking like the difference between these two is not the same we've seen before. All 5 ultimates, by the way. Gen G don't need them. That's actually the point we're in. They don't need the ults. They're just winning the rounds anyway.
Normally you'd be thinking at this point, oh, let's just throw 1 out just to see.
There you go.
There it is. Okay. Cycle the economy a little bit. Here comes the big rocket, and it's not landed. It's not found the value it needed to. The lockdown has been destroyed, and Meteor was tagged down quite a bit.
That's the value, right? That's the value. They got rid of the they got rid of the lockdown, so they can at least claim some space. He's screwed. There's no way he survives that.
It's a little messy. It's giving PRX a chance, Tom. They haven't planted the spike, but they don't need to if they win these fights again and again, and they have. Lakia dropped, leaves Munchkin 1v3. If he wins this, I'm putting the headset down. They've got decent amount of HP, and they've lost Mind Freak. Okay, but it's all right. They've still got 2 players, no utility to play with. They've got to just take these fights, not 1 at a time. That's the only thing I beg of you. Not 1 at a time, not up against Munchkin right now. He's 11-4. He's been winning round after round, but a reposition by Forsaken. The swing is good. And the double peak wins the day, 8-2. Deja vu for PRX. And, well, Gen G got to be feeling confident. The good thing is they used 3 ultimates there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That they lose the rounds, they use the ults. That's the weird thing about it. And again, a lot of this just came down to some brilliant individual play from Something, finally putting a couple of kills on the board. The fact is they did peak Munchkin individually. First player peaks, dies, second gets dinked, and it's only finally they reposition. I think we would have needed a new desk completely for Alex if they managed to lose that round, but it's scary that it even got close.
I think just get rid of the desk, man. Punch and bag with an LED screen in it.
Whose face is on it?
It depends on the game. Make it interchangeable. Well, Forsaken's picked off Karen. That's a fantastic kill. Look how open the A side is, and they've made that realization. There's no further challenge. There's no utility. There's no reaction from Gen G. So Forsaken realizes it's wide open, and he gets caught by Lakia. That timing was near perfect. You have to, well, I mean, you could call it a mistake. At the end of the day, he was open to like 6 angles, so he has to just be clearing those, constantly being paranoid about them. The site, though, is lost, and PRX will find the plant nonetheless.
Showstopper online, not wanting to allow them to set up. Something's going to try and get aggressive, but he's not going to manage to land the shot. Now, I think the flash through the back might have actually caught Munchkin, so he's going to actually reposition through B instead. Move away from the flank position. It's open. I think it's because Device having to check too many angles. The Seekers at least will give it away. Showstopper has been thrown in. He might get caught by all of the Seekers, but his teammates got his back, and that means he'll be able to kill off Mindfreak. The remaining players a bit of an obscure position. Munyet has not been cleared yet, and because of that, he's going to be able to deny the defusal. The spam doing so much damage, and now it's all on to Devi with an operator. First shot missed, but he just needs to kill the guy defusing, and he's done enough. There's no time left. Finally, PRX pull out the miracle rounds we've seen from them, but everybody will go down with the ship.
Well, it's the same thing as what we saw before, Tom, right? They're getting this little resurgence towards the end of the half. This time, PRX didn't have the pistol to help them out. They went both on the previous map, putting them up 4 rounds, and they ended on 8. But here, they're doing it on the rifle rounds. They're doing it in the clutches as well. As close as they may come, it's still giving them that little bit of a heartbeat to continue on forward. Now, this round, the last of the half, Gen G come in with the Viper's Pit. That's going to be a problem to fight through on the defensive side, or potentially a very strong tool for retakes.
Man, it's scary when it's a Red Bull clutch that gets you your 3rd round, but as long as they're getting the rounds, I don't think they're going to mind too much. This battle is now changed. It was previously Karon being solo, and now it's Texture, and his operator has been fierce.
Looks like they're going to go back into it. Is there a flash? Is there anything? No. No, it's just a dry, wide peek by Munyet. Players up top looking to trade, but Texture's out of the angle too quickly. PRX have given him another shot, and it looks like another bite of this apple. As around comes another, but finally the miss is there. Texture gets the reset, though, with low HP. He's dancing around, but he's being caught. There was no escape this time, and with Lakia falling, a real chance emerging for an 8-4 half. It looks like PRX have finally woken up. They've found some punch to be packed. Let's see. Meteor's on his way in. Up close with a teammate further away. Munchkin's making a lot of noise. They're trying to find an angle to deal with him, and instead running into Meteor. Well played. Now they can group up and try to force this 2v2 with the Viper's Pit. That was a little scary. Thought Munchkin was about to be spammed, but now they've got a lot of space as they close in the distance. No snake bites to play with, though. That could help out, keep them way out of this pit, and with Munchkin falling, it's done. PRX 8-4 at the halftime. They found some legs to stand on, some foundations laid. The second half will be tough if they lose the pistol.
Yeah, it's almost identical to what we saw in the last half. A streak of rounds, that's just disgusting. I was thinking from Forsaken's point of view, I didn't even really see anything. That's how good Texture has been. But again, it's those player deficits that are actually what turn the tides over there. Well done from PRX to at least get something.
Well, Tom, it's time now to toss this one over to Devi, who had some words to say earlier.
I think it's like a stressful game. I feel like, for me personally, I feel like we are playing against ourselves because the way they play is kind of like similar, you know. I mean, trying to outsmart them. I mean, they were very good. I would say they are smart and they're kind of like one step ahead, especially on Lotus. We kind of like, they did exactly what we were watching them, like in the VODs, like they play the same, like they are not scared, even though this, like, I think for some of them it's like their first time in Masters. And yeah, I mean, very surprised with how they actually perform.
Monye going to be put to test, put to task. Oh, that's rough. Blinded, and Monye just popping off. Yeah, farm him up. Even spotting the right there. Over towards Shybox. This guy's on for it. He's absolutely on the money today.
Gen.G, I mean, the good thing is probably we might be able to get some revenge, you know? I mean, we lost to them in the Pacific kickoff, and yeah, I mean, I think texture is giving us a lot of problem, like just killing us or like punishing us over and over. And also, Karon was playing insane as well, even though he's a newcomer. But I think he's probably like the top player in the league. I think he got MVP as well in the Pacific kickoff, and yeah, I mean, insane. Yeah, maybe we go back and cook some strats, you know, to cook these two.
Divai has certainly been cooking 15-9, exiting that first half, with the next closest player being something. Pretty good player, pretty well respected. He's got 6 kills, almost a third of what his teammates rocking. It's been tough for the side of PRX. They haven't found a lot of success, but that little 3-round streak to close out the first half, Tom, it's given them a chance here. We want to see them take the pistol, though.
Yeah, we want this to be a competitive match that it definitely has not been. Gen.G looking like a competitor for the crown, and thus far we haven't seen the PRX that we know and love. This pistol round might just be a deciding factor, but a great start from Monye. Already pushing aggressively on the other side is something waiting for someone to try and make their move, and he's going to go back for a little bit more. Has to use the dash to get out of there, and is now waiting for the cavalry to arrive as the rest of the team somewhat far away. An opportunity, but Forsaken with a good trade.
Keeping the numbers in their favor. Something needs to do a little bit more. He's done some damage, and there's the follow-up. A shot right to Texture's temple. That's going to put us in a 4v2 with PRX. Definitely favored to take this pistol now. Forsaken fallen. A little bit more of a chance. Something, though, delivers. Okay, he's up top and not spotted. Easy peasy. That's a 3K for Something. Looks like even he's starting to heat up.
That's exactly what they need. Just him having confidence. Because you look at some of the fights he's taken, and there's definitely risks about it, but that's always been his play style. Even on a Gecko, he's basically an op main, so then get the finances built up early, get the orbs rolling on the duelist, which is exactly what's happened thus far. Get that sniper into his hands. This game can definitely slip back. As said, though, for the majority of the matches we've seen, be it mostly in Pacific, Gen.G have been much, much more consistent on their attack.
Pistol win then was essential for PRX. Now the follow-up looks easy. Very little to play with for Gen.G, and even if they drop Something, he's the player that's rocking with the pistol. So the margin for error's already been reached here. Any further kills will be costly, will force some level of reinvestment from the side of PRX. But on the defense, they can keep distance, and with the buy that Gen.G have, they're definitely not favored on ranged fights.
Defiant will be solo, but you can see the rotation already coming out from Monye. Jump peek will give him the info to go back in with that Marshall. This is a round that they shouldn't really have any opportunity to win. The weaponry not falling into their hands off the kills they've garnered, and the players they're pushing into are actually just going to start pushing into them. A good round from PRX as they manage to bring things again back within 2. But the fact is, it has been the buy rounds where Gen.G truly have been a level above.
Well, just look at your screen. Besides Something, this is a round that often you're going to look at as an eco, but 3 orbs away from a Blade Storm means he can force up here, buy an Operator, and potentially have a Blade Storm, even if they lose the round. With how consistent he normally is with that op, I would definitely put stock in him finding at least the 2 orbs. 1 kill and a death. We'll see what he can get up to.
It also means they can gamble the control. They've got him holding onto the A site, an aggressive position from Monye. This is not really the gun you want to have here. Somehow, he gets out of there unscathed. They also had an initial setup for players outside C, but after that spot comes through, fading back. Now the cross has already happened, so something now in a pretty deadly position. And honestly, I think Meteor's a little bit lucky there to even get one.
Well, here's the chance for that operator to finally show its ugly face. Ugly for the side of Gen G as they lose a player right off rip. And it's Texture, the man with the responsibility to take the space to close the distance. Now they'll be a little bit slower on the way around these corners, which is just perfect for something. He had to be watching the right way, though, and Munchkin caught him unaware. The same happens with Divai, though, leaving it to a 3v2 defensive advantage, and Divai walkabouts. He's been so good. 19 kills, looking for his 20th and his 3rd of the round. And it looks like he might, oh, he will get the opportunity, but he's being dropped. Doesn't matter, because Munyet's there to catch him when he falls. 8-7. And now this gets me excited for PRX. That round puts them way back in contention because Gen G got an eco.
Yeah, I like the way they play it as well. After the initial spot, that there was at least one player lurking. They know that there's an opportunity to potentially steal a gun away. So they 3-man push. Even a trade there's not too bad, knowing there's some things on the other side. And even though he only gets 1 kill, he does enough to delay and allow for those rotations. Divai as well, though, as you said, he's been fantastic. 19 and 10, topping the entire scoreboard right now. Something once more. They know he's going to be here. They know there's a high chance he'll be here, and they're actually going to really put the pressure on early.
I don't mind this from Gen G. They have players lurking elsewhere. Trap just got broken on B. So now for PRX, they have to be worried about the flank. It means you're not going to have Forsaken there to help with this fight. Instead, something has to do it on his own, and again, he finds Texture. That's a big part of this take. They tried to seize the space with him blast packing in, but instead, they've been left to try and trade it out. 2 versus 3. Meteor's good position has been noted. As we said earlier, they know that trap was broken. They know there could be someone around here. It's why you see Divai wait for Mindfreak, wait even for the plant to come through, while Munyet finishes this flank. Looks like they're aware. Well, they're very much aware that something is going on. I mean, PRX haven't made a move. Why haven't they? Why are they not trying to fight for any bit of control? And that's not something they'll find an answer to until they plant the spike.
It looks like because they've spotted players near B, and they're worried about their spawn, they're actually going to go fighting aggressively. This could be a big win if it comes through. Nice work from Meteor. 1 bullet left. And nothing being spotted towards the spawn. This means they know where they are. The peek out is perfect, and he goes back with the pistol. He does it alone. Meteor's going to confirm the MasterCard Thrifty. And what was looking like a round firmly in the hands of PRX falls to 1 man.
1 man with 1 big gun and 1 medium gun also. Very ambitious to go for this. That could have put it to a 1v1 top, but he was having none of it.
That's what I said about this guy. He knows he'll hit the shot. For some reason, when it's him, a 2v2, and he goes, okay, I've got the first one, he always peeks for the second, and weirdly, he always gets it. That's the thing. Every time I'm sat there going, I'm ready to critique, and then he gets the kill, and I'm like, well, fine then. I guess that was the right play.
Well, uncouth, but it works this time. Certainly caught his opponents off guard with Gen G 9-7 and claiming that round. PRX have weaknesses. An operator in the hand of something.
Look at where he is.
It's not really an opping angle normally, is it? Oh, nice flash, that's good. But he hasn't got the dash anymore. It's faded out. But Munchkin, oh, the shot's missed. And Munchkin's been given a second chance at life while the showstopper is again just, oh, I thought just used for space, but if he fires it out close, no, he doesn't pull the trigger. And now he realizes his mistake as the dive comes in from PRX. They've got a lot to work with.
The old Stoke should be, well, in theory, forcing them back, but it hasn't happened at all. They went aggressive, made this one problematic. Spike already planted at least, so they're going to have to respect it and just fall back. Munchkin's still holding, and they have a pretty nasty potential crossfire just with the amount of time that can be bought. Munchkin is just looking at that clock. That's all he really aiming for, sitting back, waiting for the push. He manages to land the first, almost onto the second. But PRX respond in turn, a back and forth so far in this second half. And they close the gap once again to just 1 round.
Well, that's the response and resurgence we wanted to see. This game, this map, and indeed this series
he would
is
have
hanging
killed
on a knife's
something
edge.
if he just shot the bullet. That's got to be so infuriating.
Yeah, I can understand he doesn't want to give away his position, but, you know, you make a decision there. Do you gamble it? Do you not? And, well, he chose wrong. Chips on the wrong color. Well, 9-8. And for PRX, it looks like they've really got their hands dug into those reins. The economy is low. We've seen Gen G win low by rounds. There's a Viper's Pit online with 1 kill from Munchkin, 1 orb, 1 plant. But the main thing is something has got basically an all right now. That's a Yassine dash. But it works out for him, no punish. And the reposition gets him another kill. Swing out, coming in to the side of PRX and closing the round in just a second. Blink and you miss it as we're 9-9.
Yeah, they have somehow made this comeback happen. 5-1 in this second half after what was basically, we were at a scoreline where this looked over. What was it, 8-1? And then they win 3 rounds in a row. And that's the thing. You don't really think it at the time because an 8-4 half is still great, but it seemed like Gen G just let the foot off the gas. A few big plays coming out. Now we're starting to see players rise up. You were mentioning it, the distance between Devi and everybody else was a lot. Well, something has been closing the gap. I'm also just looking at Mindfreak.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking at him too. Karen was trained in on that with Texture finding a field day. 2 HP left on Devi. He'll find it hard to get